Yo, what's happening, people? And welcome back. Welcome back to the DIJK podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way. And
Yes.
Arsenal got it done. We got it done.
Really started straight from the top.
We're going to be going straight into that. And before we go into that, I just got to say, Michael, as you can see, with the names up on the wall,
We've gone with an all Arsenal starting five.
it's all Arsenal. It's
Is that
going to
what
be
you're
an
saying?
Arsenal dominant show. But what do they all have in common?
What do they all have in common?
They've all scored goals against Liverpool.
Ah,
And that's exactly what Arsenal did this weekend. They scored 3 of them. And look,
shout out.
big weekend for Arsenal. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Arsenal today. So if you don't want to hear us talk about how brilliant we were on the weekend, then skip along.
There's footmark. There's
they're in the comments there. Just go down, look, click on your team. I can guarantee you the Chelsea stuff will be good. So tune in for that. But if you are here to watch Arsenal, because I'm not gonna lie, Michael, the content that's been out there post this game hasn't really done it for me.
Yeah, you don't think?
Nah,
I've actually been enjoying quite a lot of it.
Yeah, but I think there's certain things that I haven't think have been spoken about,
Okay.
which we'll hopefully touch on today.
Okay.
So if you are feeling the same way as me, then hopefully this podcast will give you that. But let's get straight into it. Big title tussle, titanic tussle on the weekend.
Huge.
Liverpool came to the Emirates. And the first thing I want to say on this game, obviously I was there at the stadium and the atmosphere was on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you straight off.
Yeah. So credit to the Arsenal fans. That's the first thing I want to say, because I think a lot of what happened in that game, like coming away from the game, I saw quite a lot of people saying that Konate shouldn't have been sent off. In that atmosphere, there's no way the ref wasn't. The first one, everyone was on him screaming, booking.
Don't you think that is ironic? Because I think Liverpool got some calls in the Chelsea game at home.
Yeah.
Because the ref was afraid
Yeah.
to go against that Anfield crowd just after the news about Klopp, all of this kind of stuff. First game back at home,
100%.
like
100%.
that Conor Gallagher.
If
could have been
Konate
penalty.
makes those two exact fouls at Anfield,
Yeah, he's blessed.
Is he on the pitch, you reckon?
Yeah, I think he stays on.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I shout out the Arsenal fans that were there in the stadium that day.
Did you
definitely played a part?
Did you get chills when they sung the London is Forever?
Yeah. At the end of the game, I enjoyed that. But yeah, man, it was electric.
That's
electric. And the team responded, man, with the performance that the team put in. They were there as well. And I can see why Arteta's going mental on the touchline.
I can see why Arteta's going mental on the touchline.
Because it was a massive game, and we'll get into the game.
I was hugely nervous. I must admit.
Yeah.
On the like the day of the game, like when I woke up and I was looking at the table, looking at my points, looking at my FPL scores, all of this kind of stuff. I was like, this is way too early in the season for us to be out of title talks.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that we have a divine right to win the league and all of this kind of stuff, but us as a club, for the money we've invested, for the work Arteta's done, we deserve to be in and amongst it until the end, rather than like on the outside of the glass looking in on the Klopp and Pep thing.
Yeah.
So it was huge, and it was even bigger pause because it was a must win. It wasn't even a must not lose.
Yeah.
It was a must win.
For me, I was looking at it. I was more confident on the game than you were.
Yeah, definitely.
I did think, because even when and disclaimer, me and Michael are going to enjoy this, and we're going to enjoy this because we sat here after the Fulham game and we said the gap's 5 points. Everyone calm down.
Yeah,
Liverpool have to come to the Emirates. Everyone was in meltdown, and we are back in the title race. But yeah, I thought, because the thing is, the Emirates is a very tough place to come.
It has been now.
Like in the league, the only team that beat us was West Ham. And that was a game that 9 times out of 10 we beat them.
Yeah,
we didn't take our chances that day. So I knew it was going to be tough for them. But the way we played, the way we stepped up from the get go, was just brilliant. Arteta got everything spot on, and I think Arteta is probably the next thing we should talk about.
I was gonna say we'll get on to Arteta. Yeah, as you sort of like put, I was a little less optimistic. I thought we would actually come out with a draw. Yeah, but I knew it was a must-win.
Yeah.
So I was going with the mentality of this is a must-win game. But I thought some bullshit's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Liverpool are somehow gonna get away with something. Because the thing about Liverpool, I find, is I knew we was going to be playing the better football, but it's just they have these Diazes, they have these Jotas, they have these Nuneses who you can always see having one chance and burying it.
Exactly.
And
it doesn't even have to be a chance that's created or made. It's just a scuffle.
Something could happen on the half turn, on the whatever.
That's basically how they scored.
And I always feared that. And then we'll be in a situation where do we have the mentality to pick it up? And I feared we would not get the first goal. That was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Is that Liverpool would get the first goal in this game, and then we would have to not only close them out, like equalize, and then go ahead.
Yeah.
Whilst they're only gaining in confidence and playing on the counter attack and all of this kind of stuff. So, how did you feel when you saw the starting 11? Was you?
Yeah, I was pretty happy. If we said before the game that if Jesus is fit, he needs to have a massive game.
Yeah,
he's up against
we did
Konate and Van Dijk. And then obviously, so if I had known Jesus wasn't fit, I would have picked Havertz to play up there. I would have put Jorginho in.
And that comes to Arteta's credit.
Yeah, because those are the decisions Arteta made. But I think on the game, I just think that other than obviously the chance that Arsenal gave Liverpool to score, and that was the only time when I did get a bit worried because that 5-10 minute spell in the second half was. It felt like Liverpool were coming into the game now. Trent was getting more of the ball. He was picking his passes and whatever. And I that's when I was worried, do we have the mentality to come back from this? But then to do what we did, credit to the team.
It was such a gut punch. I thought, to be fair, so as I was saying, I quietly thought that we was going to get a draw at this game. But the way we came out, the way we've played in this first 14, 15 minutes, I was like, whoa. Like, this is the full picture. Yeah. This is everything that Arteta's been trying to do with the build-up from the back, with the man-to-man pressing, with and we have a lot of guys in there who can run, like Martinelli, Havertz, Odegaard. These are guys that they proper don't let you rest on the ball. They proper don't, and when they're closing in threes. Declan Rice, 100%. So I thought once I saw that Szoboszlai was going to be out, and I saw the midfield and just the height, literally the height of midfield. Apart from Gravenberch, who's pretty tall, but he's a bit of a scrub. Liverpool fans, he's a bit of a scrub. Yeah. But I thought, we could honestly get at them, and I loved the inclusion of Jorginho, man.
And even Rice and Jorginho said after the game that Mikel was telling them yesterday about how important the midfield battle was going to be.
Yeah.
And it was, because I think that was going to determine the game. But bro, we honestly did to Liverpool what Liverpool used to do to us when we went to Anfield.
Yeah.
The only difference is that we don't have the clinical finishers.
Exactly. I was going to say,
scoreline
as big as it should have been.
With Mane, Salah, Firmino was always on point in that fixture. But in terms of the whole game, the way it played out, that's what they used to do to us.
It can't be understated, how good this Liverpool team was coming into this. They were slapping up teams 4-5.
They've lost one game in the league.
Yeah, what their last couple of scorelines? They slapped up Chelsea by 4 goals.
Bournemouth by 4.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They played Sheffield United recently. They whacked them.
Yeah.
So this was a Liverpool team that was putting people to bed, that hadn't lost, as you said, in however many games. And hadn't truly been beaten by anybody. And even still,
I think there's a stat Liverpool lost one Premier League game in the last 32.
You know how crazy that is. Yeah. And you say, to give Mikel his credit, just even coming into these games, even though I was still pretty fearful that was going to lose, I didn't think we was ever going to be slapped up by them.
Yeah.
And Arsenal have shown so much progress in the last couple of years, and this is 100% one of those games that the older Arsenal would not have won.
Yeah.
We would have bottled it.
Where it's time for Arsenal to,
when everybody's waiting for us to fail, we used to fail.
Like, it's a moment where we need to do this now.
Yeah.
And
real.
Yeah.
To close the gap to
and
2 points.
Actually do it.
How many have we actually done it?
Yeah.
How many old Arsenal teams would have bottled it? If we've seen how many, Giroud missing all these chances, all of these guys, we're hanging on refereeing decisions, we're hanging on like a penalty not given, an offside that wasn't offside, all of this kind of stuff that we have to hang on to,
and the way
because we didn't get it done.
The way we did it is almost a bit like, because the FA Cup game, I said on this pod afterwards, I was like, if we were going to lose that game, that's exactly how we were going to lose that game, by being the better team, creating loads of chances, not taking them, and Liverpool with their killers. And credit to Arteta, because Arteta looked at the FA Cup game and looked at this game and said, we'll do exactly the same as what we did in that cup game. and this time we'll just take our chances and we'll boss you.
And yeah, and as I was saying to you, I think the huge credit I give to Arteta, above the year-on-year progress, getting more competitive. Instead of losing 5-0, we're now winning 3-1. And year-on-year, we've just become more competitive in these big top six games.
Liverpool haven't beaten us in the league
for 2 years. That's crazy.
And that doesn't sound like a lot, and it's probably not. But for Arsenal fans,
you know. We used to get slapped up.
Yeah.
We used to we knew when you would circle Liverpool that one of these from, like, how many times did we make Firmino look like a Bobby Dazzler? Mane was coming and curling them in from God knows where.
Salah would always get his.
Yeah. You know, so above that from Arteta, I think him as a coach, this team is getting better. Saliba, Gabriel, all these young guys are getting better. Him as a manager, he's getting better.
Yeah.
And he's realizing who to play in these matches and who not to play.
Yeah.
As I said, we played a double fixture with Nottingham Forest earlier in the week. He gave Smith Rowe minutes, which I loved, and it was good to see Smith Rowe. And I thought he played well in that game. But he knew today was a Jorginho game. Jorginho didn't play midweek, you know, and he knew that today is a Jorginho game, and this is where I need him to start.
100%.
So he's getting better at these decisions in the crunch time that are making us win trophies. And it's always players in fine margins, but also it's down to managers and them putting, you know, players in right situations to succeed and do well, and giving Declan Rice a nice partner, but still keep him at the base of midfield.
Yeah.
All of these kind of small
keep him close to Jorginho.
Exactly. All of these kind of small decisions that inevitably benefited us. I think Mikel deserves huge credit for that, because he's doing it, as you said. He's done it.
And
there's no excuses from us today.
He's actually just kind of arrived at that
the table. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. We need to chill. We need to chill.
Let me quantify this. Yeah, not in terms of trophies or anything. I'm not putting him there because Klopp's won Premier League, Champions League. But in terms of just in terms of a competition and competing, like Arsenal winning that game on the weekend showed that it hopefully, as long as the team should do what they need to do post this, which is obviously important. West Ham's another massive game, but it will show that Arteta's there competing with Pep and Klopp for us the whole way.
And do you know what I think puts sort of credence to what you just said is how Klopp was post-match. Because Klopp was bitching, he was moaning about the referees, and you know he was hanging on the decisions about the referee and this and that, just being a bit. And I know Klopp to be a bit of a sore loser. Yeah. Especially when he's truly been beaten and he doesn't really have the words for it. He comes up and he starts bitching and moaning about other shit. And if your Klopp had come out and said, huge credit that, this is Arsenal, huge credit to Mikel. When they start giving you compliments, it's like, it's a little bro thing. But Klopp was genuinely irked by this. He had a system, he had a schematic that didn't work. He made 3 early subs after the second half that didn't improve their side.
Bro, Van Dijk's doing an interview saying, we know how tough it is to come to the Emirates.
So I'm saying, all of these little things that let you know that Klopp and Pep and these guys acknowledge that Arteta is like, he can put an 11 together that can that's gonna go toe to toe with us.
Exactly. And in that game, it was just complete domination from Arsenal, other than obviously gifting Liverpool the goal,
which we need to stop doing.
Yeah, we do need to stop doing that. But I think, like, we had this conversation off air, but a lot of people last season would have told you that De Zerbi, Eddie Howe, Eric Ten Hag, Mauricio Pochettino are all better managers than Mikel Arteta. Even with Mikel Arteta doing what he was doing, a lot of rival fans, maybe people who aren't Arsenal fans, would have told you that those guys are better managers than Mikel Arteta. And all 4 of those managers, you could say or argue, are underperforming right now.
Yeah.
And Mikel Arteta is actually getting it done. He's actually doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Look, I think a lot of that is...
And his remit's harder than all the others.
But a lot of that is, I think, and now at this point, it's just, hey, a lot, look, you can't tell me that Chelsea wouldn't take Mikel Arteta. You can't tell me that, even Brighton, for example, a lot of it is just, hey, like, he's proving them wrong. The only thing Arteta has to do is bring big trophies.
Yeah.
Because we also, as Arsenal fans, talk big game about him because we've seen how far he's taken us in such a short amount of time. But we need to, like, solidify it.
Because the reality of it all is that if Arteta doesn't win a big trophy, his tenure will be looked back on similarly to Pochettino at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing that I always used to level at Pochettino was, he's built a great team, but when's he ever gonna actually get it done?
Yeah.
But I think Arteta's still got time to show that.
No, 100%. And we still got pieces that we know.
I still don't expect us to win the league after this result.
Neither do I. And obviously we'll get more back into the game because I realize we've gone big picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, just we still have a couple of pieces that we know we're missing, a striker, another midfielder. So when we get that final form and then Mikel Arteta can actually have a real run at City or whoever else it would
hopefully
be,
players fit and stuff.
We'll see. But on the game,
I think let's go into some of the players.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, we could talk about every single one of them.
Who do you wanna?
But
who names?
I've picked quite a few, but I've picked some names,
and
I want to talk about them in this order.
Okay.
Because when I was saying earlier that maybe the content hasn't been giving what I needed it to give, I haven't seen one podcast talk glowingly about this guy.
I know who you're gonna start with. Okay.
Who am I starting with?
Ben White.
Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, I think, needs his praise.
He does.
I think a lot of people will look at the game and say he should have scored that chance.
Yeah.
And a couple of other things he did in the game. And he should score that chance. But I don't think you are a pure football lover if you can't put that stuff to the side and just enjoy what Kai Havertz gave Arsenal on that game.
I agree with you that he deserves his praise and he deserves his credit. And again, that I sort of touched on it off air. I think I'm in the camp firmly. Okay, well, I'm in the camp of I see the picture, the bigger picture with Kai Havertz. I see why Mikel Arteta brought him to the club. There's a lot of Arsenal fans, and I was telling you that I think two Arsenal fans or two Arsenal players in particular, like Raya and Havertz, are just not fan favourites. Yeah. And they're just always going to get unjust criticism for the fact that they're not fan favourites, and they're going to get scrutinised even more for the fact that they're not fan favourites. They came from Chelsea, or they came from Brentford, these other clubs, and
the wages,
the way, how it's come in. Kai Havertz probably shouldn't be Arsenal's top earner if he is, allegedly, and he shouldn't have cost 65 mil. Those two things I think are true. Yes. However, I completely understand from Mikel's point of view why he's brought him in, because of a performance like yesterday, where Mikel Arteta needs a guy. You can see from our first goal, Kai Havertz is the one who plays it to Gabriel from deep, builds it from deep as a midfielder would. Yeah, then makes the run again from the ball from Odegaard. As you say, he should finish it, but the motion altogether.
And I think Kai Havertz deserves that bit of luck.
He does. And he was
for the way he's been playing and for how unlucky he's been a lot of the time. Like even against Man United when he made the mistake for the first goal and then the penalty got given and then they got overturned. I think Kai Havertz deserves that bit of luck in that game.
So my point about Havertz is that Mikel has brought him to be a good squad player. He might not be in Arsenal's starting 11 if all fully fit. Yeah. If all our players are fully fit, yeah. But what Kai Havertz was brought to do was to up the level of the squad. Because last year when we had injuries and players injured, we didn't have an Havertz option. Eddie was playing these games. And we're not getting that performance. Whatever you thought about Havertz's performance yesterday, we're not getting that from Eddie versus Konate and versus VVD.
That's a big thing. And I want to talk on that.
So he ups the level of the squad.
Yeah, the monstrous task of going up against Konate and Van Dijk. Like, as a striker, you're thinking, well, where am I going to get my joy?
That's what I'm saying.
I can't peel onto him. I can't go at him 1v1. I can't beat him in the air. 6'4", 6'5", man mountains. And that's why I said to you before the game, Jesus needs to be at his best.
At his best.
And if there's no Jesus...
And Kai needs his credit for even challenging aerial duels. Yeah. I know you say,
just bumping into them, making it... Bro, Eddie's not doing that.
This is Konate and VVD.
Yeah.
Both over 6'3", man mountains, and Kai went up for every header with them and we were going direct. We were playing long balls.
Exactly. And he probably lost most of his aerial duels and whatever, because obviously he's competing with those guys. But Kai went out there with the mentality of, I'm not going to make it easy.
It was so selfless,
I'm not going to make it easy. They might win those headers. They might do that. And he got Konate booked both times.
Yeah.
And the first one's brilliant, the way he holds him up and then gets dragged down. And I think as an outlet as well, like you say, we were using the option to go long.
Yeah.
What Kai Havertz gave us yesterday was invaluable.
And he was slipping in the side of that Konate Trent channel as well with Martinelli. Yeah. The amount of times that Kai was pointing and getting the ball in behind, even in the second half, right at the beginning after Liverpool were dominating us. And Martin Odegaard has that shot that's deflected that goes out for a corner. It's Kai Havertz who slips in, who
Yeah.
Jorginho plays in.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the first time anybody showed for the ball in a channel. So I say that to say that I see why Mikel trusts Kai Havertz, because tactically, and especially with the counter press and
Yeah,
stuff,
the defensive shift.
the defensive shift, and
Can you imagine Odegaard goes and then he turns around and
Eddie's languishing,
the shift Kai Havertz
eating
put in,
donuts, as they used to tell about.
Yeah. Eddie's not giving Arsenal that sort of shift, man.
So 100%, I understand. And Mikel has a certain type of footballer, and if you're an Arsenal fan, you can see it. It's these like intelligent. I can play 3 or 4 positions. I see the game. I know when to counter press. I know how to I turn players onto their weaker foots, and I close down the angles. And that's Mikel's guys. Those are Mikel's guys. Those are Pep's guys, to be fair, but those are Mikel's guys. So it's easy. It's the same reason why he's gone for Jorginho. Super smart, super high IQ. And yes, he is still a squad player, and as I said, 65 million for a squad player is nuts, but fundamentally he does his job in terms of raising the level. And this is no disrespect to Eddie as well. It's not that Eddie's a bad player. It's just that he's not going to do that job versus Konate
precisely.
and VVD. So yeah, shout out to Kai Havertz, because it was very selfless from him for the 90 minutes. And he hasn't scored. I don't think he'll ever be a 15 goal a season guy. Yeah. But if you're selfless enough, you'll have some good opportunities, man. And I think
I never expected Kai Havertz to really put that one away.
Yeah. It was on his wrong foot, and the angle was just not.
Yeah, and on another day, if he misses that and Liverpool score or whatever and go 1-0 up, but what Kai Havertz offered Arsenal on that day, he deserved to be on the winning team.
Yeah.
And the one thing I knew about Kai Havertz as well when I saw him in the starting lineup, and I've said this before, is that if there's one man, and I think Mikel did this well with putting Jorginho in there as well, is that if there's players out there that you don't want the occasion to get to, you just want those players to go out there and just play the game that they play every week. Kai Havertz obviously he's more up for it because it's a big game and whatever, but Kai Havertz plays the game he plays, whether it's Bournemouth at home,
that's true, and he's a bit of a villain. And if the crowd is on his back, it can spur him on a little bit.
Yeah. And I think because of that, and because sometimes even Martin Odegaard and you can see him sometimes rush things and whatever. Kai Havertz just has that kind of like almost laxness in his play that it's just like he's just going to play. It won't get to him. And Jorginho had that as well, and that's why we would be able to play through Liverpool. But moving it on to the next player who made a massive difference in the game. He's on the desk. He's got his own picture. He has the impact in the biggest games, and if he only scores 10 goals. Then we know that 2 of them have been winners against title rivals. Gabriel Martinelli.
My man. My dog Nelly.
The first thing I have to say about this guy, in the first 10 minutes, he set the tone for the rest of the game. And he gets that ball from Raya, and he runs Konate the length of the pitch. And you see him out-sprint Konate, out-gas Konate, put a brilliant ball in.
Yeah, that Saka has to score.
One that Saka should score from. And my God, if that had gone in, the roof in the Emirates would have come off. The way Martinelli picked that ball up and ran, instantly tone set for the game.
Do you know what that showed me? I was speaking about it with you a bit before, but like Konate has been having a decent battle with Martinelli for the other 2 games. And it was just like Martinelli, as you say, set the tone. Martinelli came out and said, yo, today I'm moving to you different. Like, I know it's been 50-50, it's been nip and tuck.
Yeah, for first 10 minutes.
All these, but
I'm not gonna work my way into
in my
the
own
game.
patch.
Yeah,
I'm taking the long way around you as well. And I'm just gonna that second touch, the first touch Martinelli has in his locker of just like out and out pace. I'm gonna get girls like 20-30 yards off the pitch.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times you see him cut back, look for where Zinchenko is, or whoever. That second touch and the afterburners just to go like double outside him and then to still put a good ball in the box.
Well, Konate never sees that. Because when a winger gets in that situation with
Konate's at full pace, he's at full tilt.
They don't take him on. They slow it down, they maybe come inside, try and pay a pass. Konate hasn't seen a guy just go, let's run.
Yeah. And it's foolish from Trent, it must be said. Because Trent's with him and he's touching him.
Trent, the way Trent defended, and I know people might say he's half fit, or only could play 60 minutes, whatever. Yeah, the way Trent defended in that game was pathetic.
Yeah,
man. Martinelli looked at Trent and said, "I'm gonna take you for a dickhead today."
Trent was with him for that exact burst. Trent was with him at the edge of the box from the corner, wherever it was, and like Martinelli turns to run and Trent sees it, and he's
Yeah,
he
and he just sees Konate and he's like, yeah, calm.
yeah, he just tells himself,
Yeah,
oh yeah, Konate's got it, yeah.
He tries to grab Martinelli.
Yeah, so I'm saying he tries to touch him.
He's like, I'm not running back for this.
So what I'll say about Martinelli is, I said it on the pod last week or whenever it was that I expect him to get 10 goals, or I think he'll get 10 goals between then and the end of the season when he scored 2 against Crystal Palace. He's got another one already, so that's 3 goals. So another 7 to get in however many games. But what I really want to give Martinelli credit for is he's such a big goal getter for us. Talk about beating Man City at home. You got the photo. Yeah. That's one of the biggest results we've had in the last couple of years. And same thing with this. Yeah. So, and it's him again.
Both times.
Both times. Even when we played Liverpool last year, he scored goals. He scored goals against Chelsea.
Not with the dagger.
Yeah.
Not with the winning goal.
Yeah. So he is the kind of guy where if he's on song for us, man, he's gonna get the big one. Yeah. If the games are tense and it's tight, and you're wondering who's gonna be the difference, you're not surprised now.
Yeah.
If it's Martinelli, and he's the guy I think can most be like Alexis Sanchez. If there's anything like regens, we've come in on this pod. We did top 10, or what we spoke about in terms of top 10 worst transfers for Man United, but how Sanchez used to be the guy that would not let us lose. Yeah, Martinelli's kind of turning into that guy already.
Yeah.
In terms of,
and
especially against these big teams,
if we were going to score in a big game, you knew it was going to be Alexis.
Yeah.
Otherwise we weren't.
Well, he has to get the party started for other guys to even get the confidence.
And I've got him on this list anyway, but we'll talk about him now because Saka, even though a lot maybe people saying his overall performance and whatever for maybe the majority of the season hasn't been where it was last season, I have nothing but respect if he's just going to become a numbers guy.
The numbers guy. Well, every team needs a numbers guy.
Exactly. And on this conversation, I did always think it'd be Martinelli. And that's not to play Saka's playing bad or he's
not stinking.
He's like whenever the ball gets to Saka, there's an expectation like something's going to happen.
And there's another man busting a gut to double team.
Exactly. But picking up the numbers he's picking up, winning goal against Forest and in midweek, scored it against Liverpool today, like. In this whole period, he scored against Fulham. He's been picking up the goals.
I think he has I think it was like 24 goals or something. Goal contributions in 30 games or whatever it's been. Or maybe it's 20 and 24. But I think I think he himself, to be honest, I didn't actually see this from him. Yeah. Like I thought last year, like he was playing unbelievable football. Majority of the games.
I think we both always used to think that transition would be Martinelli.
Yeah, literally. Because last year Saka was the guy twisting guys up a lot of the time, dragging them left and right, using both feet to finish. A lot of the times maybe he would be the one who would break the lines, beat 3 guys, and then 2 passes later somebody else, Martinelli, scores. Yeah. So I didn't really see this transition to Saka just like strolling into games and walking out with an assist and a goal, regardless of how he's playing. Games. Yeah, like I genuinely did not see this transition from him, but I welcome it. Yeah, with open arms.
I had nothing but respect.
With 2 arms, I got a lot of love for it, and I do think, to be fair, that his goal is kind of not slept on, but the first time touch, Saka does that so often. Yeah, I remember he scored a goal versus. Was it? Yeah, it was Brighton.
When the ball comes.
It was Brighton last year. Like his first time touch always sets him up, especially when he doesn't have to think about it and it just comes at him. Yeah. His first time touch always sets him up.
And then he lifts it because Konate's sliding in on the goal line.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
and that for biggest game of the season. First 15 minutes, put Arsenal 1-0.
And it says a lot about the both of them. Look, Gabriel and Martinelli are like 21, 22 years old. Sorry, Gabriel and Martinelli. Gabriel and Saka are like 21, 22 years old. So these are our goal-getters versus Klopp's Liverpool.
Yeah.
Undefeated, unbeatable, 1 loss all season, top dogs, top of the table, Liverpool. Like, these guys are 22 years old.
Yeah.
So...
And they're getting it done. And one guy that we already spoke about a bit, especially with Mikel Arteta bringing him in, but he did get man of the match from Sky, Jorghino.
Yeah.
I saw you and Nick say
J5.
on the chat. Yeah, I saw you and Nick say on the chat before the game, J5 Masterclass needed. And it was a big call because Jorghino is a guy who it's a strange one because you can't really say, Jorghino gets robbed because he does that so well.
Yeah.
It's not like he's getting robbed, but when he does get robbed, it doesn't look good. Yeah. And But he's fully made up for the Tottenham game.
For the
now.
Tottenham game,
I've fully forgiven him for the Tottenham game now. I was angry after.
I was going to say the same point.
But because that performance, and I had the conversation with my brother after the game, and he was saying obviously Liverpool wanted to come and press. That's what Liverpool do. They come, they press high, they commit so many men forward, and they just leave Konate and Van Dijk and
to do the man
goes, and it goes wide areas. Just do your job 1v1, right? And they fully commit to that. And that's where a lot of teams get unstuck, because a lot of teams then don't have the bravery to play through, and then Liverpool
you start going long and Konate and Van Dijk clean that up,
and they have it all their own way. And for him to put Jorginho in there, and Jorginho to know exactly when to play, when not to play, what passes to play, he completely controlled that game.
I think there's a lot of great Jorginho attributes, but I think some of the ones I've come to love are one, the baiting of fouls. I used to hate Jorginho for that.
Yeah.
At Chelsea.
Yeah. The time wasting. When he went down with cramp.
Oh, man.
At 2-1. We needed that. Just
do you know what I love? Tempo. I love Jorginho from a corner, for example, a defensive corner. There'll be a bit of a kerfuffle or a scuffle in the box, and he'll go down with like an obnoxious, whatever that word is, head injury.
Yeah.
When it's like, there's a bit of a rough and tumble. He goes down with the head injury. Ref has to stop play. Yeah. And another thing I love about Jorginho is the baiting of the press.
Yeah.
Like him and Saliba are our two best baiters of pressing. When it's like they dilly-dally on the ball.
I found Ben White's in there as well.
Yeah, Ben White.
Ben White loves to just bring the guy.
They dilly-dally on the ball. Jorginho will play like the most pointless 5-yard pass to Saliba. Yeah. He'll play another 5-yard pass back. And then as soon as somebody bites, boom, Jorginho turns around the corner to Zinchenko. Zinchenko plays it out to
That's
Martinelli.
Literally the first goal. I didn't realize at the time how brilliant that move for the first goal is.
Yeah.
But Jorginho's come in. Gabriel's played it into Jorginho. Jorginho's given it to Havertz. Havertz plays it back to Gabriel. Gabriel plays it out to Zinchenko, and we're through.
And you're through.
Comes into Odegaard, and then that's Havertz again linking up in the build-up and then being there on the other end. But Jorginho was flawless.
And to be fair, he is a guy who we've brought to be the guy in the bigger games and the bigger moments, and he is rising to them, and he isn't putting a foot wrong.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans are talking about whether he should or should not be extended contract-wise.
Yeah. I was going to ask you this.
Yeah, I think so. I think where I stand with it now
what
is...
if he wants a 3-year deal?
No. Jorginho is getting a 1-year deal.
1-year deal.
At best. Because I truly think that Arsenal in the summer need to go and sign a brilliant progressive ball-playing midfielder.
Yeah.
Like, that is one of the holes in the team. Put somebody in there. It's like, put somebody in there with Declan Rice who can put the ball naturally in between the lines, punch the holes for Odegaard, and then we're really cooking. And hopefully he can be tidy and athletic. And
get rid of Thomas Partey in the summer.
Yeah, it's kind of looking at if Thomas Partey...
I'm kind of done with Thomas Partey now.
It's tough.
I still love him.
It's tough because it's February and we still have no idea when he's coming back.
Yeah.
And as I said,
I can't do this again next season.
I still have faith in him, though.
Every week I'm like, Thomas back in training.
I will say I still have faith in him because, as I said, I won't ever forget the first 6 months of last year.
Yeah, but if he does this again next season,
the thing about Thomas Partey is next season he's already moved himself.
You can't tell me this won't happen to him next season.
No, Thomas Partey has moved himself already into the El Nene role. If Thomas is to stay next year, it's on the Mo El Nene.
But
it's on the El Nene team.
I genuinely think we can't have Thomas Partey on the El Nene team. We can't. We can't sell him for 40 million, get the money, recoup some of the money.
If somebody's putting 4 million on the table for Thomas Partey, then you have to take that. You have to take that deal.
Juve will pay that.
You have to take that deal.
Thomas Partey is one of the best holding midfielders in the world. Someone's paying 40 million.
He's not playing any football this year.
Yeah, but he still is. He still is.
I think Thomas can still come back and change things, though. And I still think
this season,
I still think that. And I was gonna say one thing about Jorginho. I am putting a lot of stock and faith in Jorginho. In this, I assume, or I hope to assume, we're gonna go on a Champions League run. And I'm putting a lot of stock in J5 in that Champions League run.
Who's already won the Champions League.
I need you right there with Declan Rice.
Tuchel played him next to Kante every round.
I need you right there with Rice in all of those games. The performance you put against Liverpool should just be the standard.
I need that team with Tomiyasu at left back.
Yeah, Jesus up top.
No. Keep Kai Havertz.
I think Jesus, The problem is
you play Jesus on the left or do something, but in those latter rounds, I need this.
No, I think Kai's going to be a great impact sub in the Champions League, And I think Jesus will be you'll be seeing 7 minutes on the clock. Jesus won Arsenal. Like I think Jesus is all of these chances that he misses in the Premier League.
Yeah, but you could get Jesus in the team.
All of these chances that he misses in the Premier League will go in the Champions League.
True.
That is the nature of the guy. But
Jorginho, I think will be
incredible.
Will be massive.
Incredible,
especially when you go away to hostile stadiums. And for a lot of these Arsenal players, we got to remember it's the first time some of them are playing in Champions League.
Yeah.
Declan Rice has never played Champions League football before.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka, all of these guys, Gabriel, Martinelli, they've never played Champions League football.
He seems like a lovable guy in the dressing room. He seems like he brings that, like, you know, everything that Mikel wants in the dressing room.
Even the interview afterwards, Declan Rice was saying that he obviously wants to learn as much as he can from him, and he knew that and for all the other players out there on that pitch, I know I said this about Havertz, but Jorginho as well is another one who he's just going to play his game.
Yeah,
the occasion won't matter to him. He's just going to play his game, and that calmness that he can bring there is. And another, just because we're speaking on the calmness point, that without a shadow of doubt, David Raya.
I was gonna say, I was actually gonna bring him up if you didn't have him on your list. As a person that needs a shout out,
he was on here. Just I didn't want to speak too long about it.
Yeah.
But just as a shout out,
he's done his thing
in the stadium. I can 100% tell anyone who's listening to this in the stadium, the whole stadium is more calm with David Raya. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It is. Maybe Ramsdale's got the franticness. But I can 100% tell you that Liverpool are one of the best pressing teams in the world, probably. Yeah, but the whole stadium was fairly calm whenever David Raya got the ball.
He does his thing, David Raya, and I 100% feel that calmness. I feel that presence, and the distribution and the quick releases, and the less of the gesturing to the crowd, and the less of the crowd wanting to fuck with him because they know he can be fucked with. All of that stuff plays into it. Yeah. And you know, for whatever you might say about his mistake for I was gonna say, well, it's more Saliba's.
I don't think he's made a mistake there,
but I could easily see Ramsdale coming to just clear everything out.
Yeah. Which might work.
Might have a penalty where he might snap Saliba's ACL. might, you know, whatever it is, there is a lot more risks in that option. I'm thankful.
The idea of Ramsdale coming out and the headline the next morning, Aaron Ramsdale tears Arsenal star centre back.
Oh. And you keep flinging himself at it.
Yeah.
Like,
just
eyes closed. Like, just trying to make himself as big as possible.
But no, Raya, high crosses, the claims, everything, playing out.
Give him a lot of respect.
Making the saves he should make. Shout out to David Raya because he's been playing well consistently for a bit now. Ever since the Luton game, he's kind of stepped up.
Yeah.
But one guy. You mentioned him.
I mentioned him earlier.
And this guy hasn't had, unfortunately, there hasn't really been a game yet where me and Michael have been like, we'll sing this guy's praises today. But in this game, we 100% can.
He
deserves it because I can speak for both me and Michael to say when we absolutely love this guy. Right? He's there week in, week out.
Yeah.
Minimum 7 out of 10. Ben White, Benny Blanc, or to give him his full name, Marcelo.
I saw Turkish saying that in there.
Yeah, bro, the nutmegs. Ben White was ready. You want to talk about a player
ready for today,
who's thinking, Liverpool on the weekend. I'm ready for that one. Roy Keane, when he says, the players know we're playing Arsenal on the week. We're going to Highbury on the weekend, right? They know. Ben White came out and he was ready for that.
Yeah. No, he was. That first half was flawless.
Yeah,
from Ben White. And he played well. And because they were targeting him, I give him even more love and even more credit. And,
completely locked down Luis Diaz.
Yeah. Who's tricky, bro? He's a tricky winger.
One of the best wingers in the league on his day.
No, Ben White, he gets enough respect from me. One, for his availability. He's always around. He's always ready to play. He's always ready to do 90 minutes. And then 2, for his actual ability on the ball and in a football pitch.
Yeah.
And he is one of those guys where
the amount of times Ben White will just, like you were saying, just wait and wait and just come.
And I also like his shithousery. I like his cuntiness. I know he got booked for fucking.
He got his get back though.
I know he got booked for wasting time, but I like the fact that he is just a bit of a prick, but good at football, and he can lock down your favorite winger.
Yeah.
And you'll never give him credit for it.
Yeah.
But you can
Well,
knock down
when
your...
that one in the second half when Luis Diaz is running and it looks like he's getting away.
Yeah, Ben White
gets
tracks him
back,
all the way
stands
back.
him up. Luis Diaz comes in, he blocks the shot.
I think the thing I like about Ben White is he's got a little bit of everything in him. He's like a lot bit of an athlete. He's a lot bit of a technical baller in terms for a centre back or a central defender or a right back. Like he's nice on the ball.
Yeah.
But
press resistant.
He can win his headers.
Yeah.
He can put himself into a challenge. Like, he can just do everything to a very high level, to a very decent level. And then he adds the additional, like, it's weird to say passion because he doesn't give a fuck about football, but he adds that. You can tell when he's playing, he
wants to win.
Yeah, he wants to win. He gives everything. He's got that competitiveness.
And on Ben White, after the Nottingham Forest game, I wanted to talk about this bit. Obviously, him and Zinchenko.
Oh, yeah. Go into it.
Thing, right? I absolutely loved that from Ben White. Because even though I don't think Zinchenko was at fault for that goal, I think that again was Saliba's fault for that goal.
Yeah.
Because Awani, he just nudges him off the ball and it's way too easy. But Zinchenko doesn't even make it. If that's Tomiyasu, he just wins the header. The situation doesn't even materialize. So Zinchenko should do better. And the fact that Ben White went over, and I didn't think Ben White was that guy who was going to be able to go to four-time Premier League winner Zinchenko.
Yeah, you dropped the ball over there. Yeah.
I'm doing my job. We want this clean sheet. Because on Sunday, if that's Liverpool.
But I already told him what he wanted to do the clean sheet bonus. And now,
yeah.
And Zinchenko's fucking up his money.
He already had the table booked at tape.
That's what I'm saying. Zinchenko's fucking up the next tattoo, man. He already scripted out for himself.
But yeah, man, like you say, locking down your favorite winger. I can't give him enough praise for that.
Yeah, no, he quietly goes about, and we always
and in a year where every single fullback at Arsenal has had injury problems,
he's been there.
Ben White,
and I'm sure he's had his own injury problems, but
I'm sure in that period he was playing through injury.
His muscles are made of vibranium. Yeah. I think they just they grow back overnight.
Even Mikel, I remember he said in the Prime doc that even when Ben White's injured, he tries to hide it because he just wants to get out there on that pitch.
I got a lot of time, and we set it off. We get Tomiyasu back, who's like, in many ways, Ben White's twin brother.
Yeah,
like he's a football player.
Yeah.
He's gonna give it 110%,
and
he's got the ability.
It might sound impossible, but he's more likely to lock down your favorite winger.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans were saying if Salah had played, bro, if Tomiyasu had played, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah. Tomiyasu on that shield out. Let me tell you, Tomiyasu on a box out gives every. Tomiyasu on that box out.
When Van Dijk's trying to play that diag, bro, if that's Salah, we saw it last year at Emirates. Tomiyasu locked him up.
Yeah, you don't want it with Mr. Tommy T.
Exactly.
Are we gonna do the Liverpool perspective?
We will do. Just one guy again.
Yeah.
Again. 4 centre backs on the pitch.
Oh.
One got sent off. 2 of them were directly at fault for their team conceding.
Talk about him.
But this guy, he's the best centre back on the pitch. And I will say it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you say hot takes on whatever. This guy, this season, has been the best centre back in the league. He's been part of the best defense in the league. He's played week in, week out. He's playing there next to guys like Zinchenko, who's maybe not even there. He's being dragged out into wide areas where we're seeing guys like Badia Shiel, who's been compared to Rolls Royces, get murked in wide areas. Dizazi. We're seeing Kanate get sent off. We're seeing Van Dijk not clear balls. We're seeing Saliba make mistakes. This guy, Gabriel, has been the best centre-back in the league.
I agree. I said to you that he's already in the team of the season. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's a matter of who's partnering him.
And don't anyone in the comments dare try and blame Gabriel for that goal. Because that is not his fault at all. But Saliba should just clear it and the ball's coming to him. But solid.
I love the consistency Gabriel has brought. He is a 7-8 out of 10 more time. The headers, the blocks. He's grown as a passer. The long ball, you can't say it's it's a long ball into the space, but even that for Martinelli to eat up, he was the best centre back on the pitch. He made the fewest mistakes.
Yep, 100%.
And it's been like that.
Yeah, and some of the passes Gabriel was playing. Like again, people will try and pigeonhole.
Do you know what's so funny?
It's aerial guy.
It's so palpable from those games that we had, if you can remember, at the very beginning of the season, at the very beginning of this pod. With Partey right back, and we were like, what's going to be happening? How is this going to fit? Is Gabriel going
by the third game, we were like, I'm done.
We're done with this. And then we had the first game when he was back, and I can't remember who it was.
United.
Yes. And it was like...
and he had the tussles with Hoyland.
Yeah, he had the tussles with Hoyland. but there is, from that moment, there's been such a difference in our defense, and he's 100% the foundation. And I heard somebody else say it like, we give Saliba a lot of credit, we give Saliba a lot of love, rightfully so, justly so. But we've never seen a Saliba without Gabriel.
Exactly.
We've never seen a Saliba without Gabriel.
Exactly.
And
do you know how good Rob Holding cannot start a single game at Crystal Palace,
man.
And Gabriel held his hand.
Tompkins is still getting games.
Exactly. And kept us within a title race for 2 months after Saliba got injured.
And we spoke about Gabriel doing the 2-man defending job as a left back. And in those man-to-man market situations, when it's Gabriel and the fastest, strongest player on the other team in a 1v1 from the halfway line,
I know who's winning.
Yeah.
I know who's
so,
winning.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even there's no way you're going to score from that situation. Because if you beat
Gabriel's wiping you out.
He's just going to take the yellow card. He's just going to take the yellow card, and it is what it is. He'll get you on the next one. There's no way
he's a real issue. Anyway, we both had him top of our Mikel Arteta top 10 signings, and yesterday or Sunday was
100%
an illustration as to why. Like, he is the foundation. You talk about, I said it that we're the best defensive team in the league.
Yep.
Other people, Jamie Carragher, all these other guys have said it now that we're the best defensive team in the league, and he is 100% a foundation of it. If not
the best centre back in the league this season,
it'd be funny to say, like, do you think we would have as good a defensive record, as good a defensive numbers if Gabriel was out and we still had all the other pieces? Like, it was Saliba and White maybe as a centre back partnership, and you had Tomiyasu and Zinchenko, whatever, at right back, left back situation. Like, that is how central I think he is to all of our defensive numbers. We always used to say,
if you're gonna put Ben White at centre back, his partner has to be Gabriel.
Yeah.
You can't pair Ben White and Saliba.
Can you imagine Ben White and Saliba both?
That's what it was at the start of the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we were trying.
Can you imagine both of them trying to be too cool on the ball?
Yeah.
Both of them, somebody needs to win that header.
Yeah.
And Gabriel duly obliges.
On that first goal, the reason we are able to get out, Gabriel on his left foot, first hand pass.
He's got he's a proper problem, man. He's a proper problem in the league.
Yeah.
And again, he's another guy who I just need to see crowned. I just need to see him.
100%.
That
100%.
big trophy.
And
it's transformative.
You said, are we going to do anything on the Liverpool stuff? We will do some Liverpool stuff. And linked in with that, the comparison of the midfields.
And
Declan Rice's impact in these big games is invaluable, man. What Declan Rice offers to Arsenal in big games, home or away, right, is just I can't even describe how important that player is to have.
I said he has a moment in the game where he literally pushes or moves to every Liverpool midfielder.
Yeah.
Curtis Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch.
Leaves Gravenberch on the floor.
Like, he eats up the ground. He shoves them off the ball. He plays the 5-yard pass to Jorginho or on the attack.
Yeah.
No, he was brilliant, man. And I thought his levels had kind of dropped a little bit for the last couple of weeks. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But this was a reminder of, him being able to more than just hang at the highest level. Like, he can generally dominate midfields on the highest stage. And he's another guy I can't wait to see in the Champions League. Can't wait to see in a Champions League run, in a Champions League sort of knockout game in midfields with Spanish guys. Minnow midfields, with techie guys. Yeah, he's nice. I know he's got the tech for it. Curtis Jones, he's nice. I know he can play a 5-yard pass. I know he can turn the corner. I know he can do all of this. But when he has a 6'3" guy in there who can do that as well, who can eat up the ground, who defends on the front foot, man.
Yeah.
Who, as soon as you get the ball off your defender, is breathing down your neck.
The athleticism in the press, the way he was winning the ball back, the intensity that he just gave Arsenal.
But that Declan Rice whole jumping on a guy as he's if you're playing Arsenal and you think, especially at home, if you're playing Arsenal, you think that I can get this ball off my centre back and take 3 touches before I turn around to face the field. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah,
you're wrong.
McAllister thought when he gets that ball, he thinks, I'm going to turn. I'm going to probably clip a ping out to Luis Diaz, and Declan Rice just comes in, bang, win the ball, Arsenal on the counter,
and he always points at it. There, ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant. We need to find a partner for him. Like, he's playing at an unbelievable level, and he can get to an even better level if you find a huge sort of guy who can pass in midfield. Not huge physically, but just of footballing stature.
Yeah.
Who can actually stand up to these games.
We need the next Ilkay Gundogan.
Someone like that.
That's who
100%. Someone who's
which is so different. They're like Gundogan's a unicorn.
Yeah, exactly. One in a million.
He played drop deep, progressive passes, GA, like all of it.
You can play all the positions, intelligent like that.
Yeah.
Can stand up to the clutch moments.
But Zubimendi,
look, I welcome those. I welcome all rumors because one, I think Arteta will make you a better player.
Yeah.
And two, if you have that technique, you know, Arteta knows these positions better than anybody. Like, so if Arteta says Partey's done, Partey's done.
Yeah. It's full faith now. Full faith.
It's full faith. Not even, but especially for these midfield positions, the number 6s, the number 8s. Yeah. He's played in the Premier League for 10 years under Moyes.
Number 8.
Yeah, he's done it under Moyes. He's done it under Arsene.
Yeah.
He's played with Pep. Like, he knows what it takes to be a midfielder in these positions, to go to Anfield and hold your shit and all this kind of stuff. So I trust him. If Arteta says Zubamendi's the guy and he thinks he's got the technique, he's the guy.
Exactly.
You know?
And I like Liverpool were shocking in that game. Absolutely awful. Part of that was because of the way Arsenal were playing.
Yeah.
Liverpool just didn't have it, and albeit they did kind of obviously Szoboszlai was out on the day, Nunes was on the bench. But I was looking at, and I've said this before, this Liverpool midfield cannot win the Premier League, man. Like, for all we know about Premier League football,
for everything
midfield can't win.
For everything that we've seen in the script book,
if this midfield wins it, Klopp's better than Fergie.
Madness,
because there's no way. For I will question everything. McAllister is DM,
and McAllister's alright. He's done well.
But he's not a DM.
he's not a Premier League winning DM. He's not N'Golo Kante.
McAllister, Jones and Szoboszlai, Endo, Szoboszlai and Graven, but whoever it is, that midfield, if that midfield wins the league ahead of Rodri, KDB, like all
miracle
of these Foden,
miracle worker.
Jurgen Klopp's a better manager than Sir Alex Ferguson, because I will question everything I know about Premier League football if that midfield wins the league.
I agree with you 100%, and I said it that just, you know, there is something to be said about Premier League, and now I'm actually talking about players' stature, like physical height. Like, as you said, there's sometimes if Endo, Curtis Jones, and McAllister are in that midfield, and you've got Rodri, you've got Declan Rice in the other team, they should...
Yeah.
It should be...
that one should take out all three.
That's what I'm saying. It should be a pretty long day. So I half give Liverpool a lot of credit for being where they are with the midfield that they have, and then also agree with your point that not only is it the reason why they shouldn't win the league, but I think it's the reason why we should finish above them. We have midfield issues ourselves. We don't know who's on number 8. No one's locked it down all season. No one's like, I can point out and be like, yeah, he's the best in the position to take us to the next level. But Liverpool's midfield, it's actually incredible the run that they've been on. And another thing I want to say about Liverpool, and it sounds like maybe we're hating, but there's certain signings that Liverpool have made that I don't know if they're successful. Like Gakpo.
Yeah.
Like Gravenberch.
Speak on it. Because Gakpo,
you know...
And again, like you come into this game and you think, this is a massive game for both teams, probably the biggest game of the season. If Liverpool come here and win, there's a big chance they can go and win the title if they put themselves 8 points clear. And you're looking at the midfield battle and you're looking at these signings. Gravenberch has had to come in. Gakpo's had to come in playing on the wing. And you look at a big game, I need you to step up. And one person that did get criticised for not standing up in big games, Martin Odegaard.
But I
turned up and stepped up. Like, that pass he plays for the first goal is brilliant. Whereas Gravenberch comes into the team and none of those, like, I mean, Roy Keane definitely has a thing against Van Dijk because he blamed him for all 3 goals. But I can't look at any of those Liverpool players other than maybe McAllister, but even then it wasn't like a great performance, and say, yeah, you turned up for the occasion.
So that's my point, is like, you know, I think there is a player in Gakpo. I've seen him have some nice touches and seen him score some nice goals, but you never really get a consistent run from him. Same thing even with Darwin Núñez. Like, I think Darwin Núñez actually is a good player,
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
he's always involved. He can cause a lot of chaos. Both of us, none of us wanted him to start, but he probably should have more goals than he currently has.
Yeah.
He should.
I do believe Darwin Núñez can explode.
So do I. But till this point, it's not that he's a question mark of a signing. I get why they've got him, but you kind of
But that chance he has straight after the Kyrgios header,
yeah.
right, when he just lashes
You
it
kind of
over
want more. You kind of want more, and
you
that's
need
what
him
I'm
to
saying
score the ball
about.
back.
And that's what I'm saying about for Liverpool to be up in title talks in a title charge. And I'm unsure about the midfield. I'm unsure about whether a lot of their signings in the past couple of years have actually been sort of successes. I give a lot of credit to Klopp
Yeah,
for being able to manage a team. Like he still is able to find a. Thiago hasn't played a football match in 12 months, 13 months, or however long it's been. Like it's crazy.
because even the Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson midfield, I was questioning it.
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
but I was like, there's still enough here. Wijnaldum's technically
Yeah,
secure. Fabinho
he loves
can
a
play.
goal.
He can play forward. He can break up the play. Henderson's the engine in there. This midfield, it just can't happen.
But to give Liverpool fans some credit or some respite, I think it was the right time to play them. Like Trent wasn't fully fit. Robertson was just coming back. There was no Salah. There was.
But do you think a fully fit Trent,
there was no
Martinelli's
Núñez.
game changes?
Martinelli's game doesn't change, but maybe there is that because the
There's
problem.
more threat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The thing is, we were so dominant. We were so dominant in that game, and it was such a huge game. That I will give Liverpool fans some credit and just say that it probably was the right time for us to play them. But it's been like that in other years gone by.
But it's the right time for them to play. Like
we didn't have Jesus, we didn't have
Tomiyasu,
Partey. Yeah, there was a lot of guys we were missing. But if I needed a 6-pointer versus Liverpool,
they were missing Salah.
They were.
Robertson,
Exactly.
Trent wasn't fully fit.
You would take it. So, and I think for them, I'm happy that they have kind of lost now because things can kind of get ridiculous with Liverpool when they build up these. Since Klopp announced he's leaving, Liverpool have won the last 7, 8, 9. So for them to lose now and it will galvanize them or whatever, but they'll also know that there's good teams out there, there's cracks, and when they get to these Goliath games versus City, they are going to be a little bit nervous. They know their
but that game at Anfield, the atmosphere in that game, it's going to be nuts. Mad. And Man City haven't won there with fans since 2003.
Yeah, and I also want to say that, and this is going to be maybe controversial, but I thought Konate, and I was telling you, I thought he did well. Like he's a good player. Like he's actually a very good player, Konate, and he's going to lock down a lot of problems. On that right side. I don't know if he can ever make up for how bad Trent is defensively. You kind of make it, it's like you're a man down. But Konate, he's athletic. He wins his headers. He's tidy enough on the ball. He's not sloppy or careless or anything like that. Martinelli got the better of him. Havertz got the better of him yesterday. But in the 3 games he's played us, I've been very impressed with him, man. Like, he's a proper player.
Konate is a very good centre.
He's a proper player.
I think the atmosphere just kind of got to him a bit.
It can happen to people at the carpet.
It got to Virgil and Alisson.
Yeah, it can happen to people at the carpet.
That's another thing, man. Virgil and Alisson.
Virgil, I haven't even...
Never. Yeah, you haven't even had...
I haven't even had time to...
And I'll tee you up for that. But Virgil and Alisson never make mistakes like that. I know in the Man City game, people were saying Alisson made a couple of mistakes, whatever. Mistakes like that between them two. And I was sat there at halftime.
That's Karius and Lovren.
Yeah, exactly. I'll admit this. Yeah, I was sat there at halftime, and I was saying this is going to be tough now because the difference is Van Dijk and Konate and Alisson
will never make that
give us what we just gave Liverpool.
Yeah.
But boy, was I glad to be wrong. Because I reckon all of this kind of stuff. It just kind of happens as soon as that Van Dijk lets that ball bounce, the whole crowd stands.
Bro, I'm so happy for VVD's downfall. I'm so happy for VVD's downfall. Like, I have some wild takes for VVD that I won't do it today because there is not enough evidence built up in the tank yet. But it's coming, man.
Drop one.
All I say is that I think, especially for the last 2, I don't think Van Dijk 1 has been the same player since injury, since he's come back. And I think his name has helped him a lot to get into these conversations. He is, yes, one of the top 5 centre-backs in the league still. He has, yes, had a great season this Barclays Premier League. But I think Liverpool fans and other fans go on about Van Dijk like he's infallible, like he doesn't make any mistakes, like he hasn't made any mistakes at all season. He's been sent off this season for a straight red. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he got lucky midweek versus Chelsea. I thought he gave away 2 penalties. And then you have these mistakes versus Arsenal today.
Where little Martinelli just nudges off the
Not,
ball.
bro.
Big Van Dijk.
So it's not to say that Van Dijk is an awful player. I think he's going to leave at the end of the season because I think Van Dijk knows.
Yeah, it's downhill.
Downhill
from here. Yeah.
That I'm guys are. There's got to be certain players. Not every player is going to be feeling like this, but there's going to be certain players in the Barclays Premier League who are feeling like there'll be a lot of times where you'd see Van Dijk and you turn away and you think, let me recycle the ball. There's going to be another opening somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think guys are looking at Van Dijk. Some guys are looking at Van Dijk.
That's what I thought Martinelli. Well, that's what another winger would have done with Konate.
It's like, and that's why I'm a bit let down at Saka because Martinelli had Konate to go at. I want Saka to go at Van Dijk.
But I think Van Dijk still kind of commands that.
He does still kind of command that.
It's rare you see a winger but one person who would do it, Pedro Neto. But we'll go on to that.
But even Trossard, for example, for Trossard's goal, Van Dijk's got to do more. He's got to get across. He's got to put in a challenge.
Yeah.
He's stalling. He's like trying to mind read.
Takes a deflection, goes through Alisson.
Yeah. I just think, and I'm not here to kill him yet, but I just think that sometimes Van Dijk puts in some meaty performances with a couple mistakes that give away goals. And then everybody the next day is like, oh yeah, but Van Dijk's the best centre back in the league. And Gabriel's not made these mistakes.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't. So it's a teaser, Liverpool fans. I'm just saying that I'm watching your boy. You've got him on a pedestal. Well, I'm just saying, Liverpool fans and VVD lovers, that some of your like, oh, he's monstrous games, they're fugazi. Like some of you are like, oh, he's the best ever, the best we've ever seen, the best there ever will be, especially the ones in the last 18 months. Some of them are fugazi, and he's made a couple mistakes that we always sweep under the carpet because of the name and, yes, the trophies he's won.
Because of his PR.
Which I give him credit to, and because of his PR. And the meme.
But you know what? I will say Saliba has that PR.
Oh, big time.
Saliba's mistakes get swept.
Yeah, forget about them. Saliba's made way more mistakes than even in the last two games. In the last
week, 2 games he's made 2.
Yeah, and he's made more this season. Yeah.
Can you imagine if that was Gabriel, people would be calling for him to be dropped.
There are certain players that get away. Saka's missing that Martinelli cross. Like, I don't know how Saka gets contact on the ball and doesn't put the ball in the back of the net. But he's Saka. Yeah. So you can't say too much. But that one,
I understand. He's come through the academy.
Yeah. You got to give him. You give him all the benefit, all the doubt.
I get that one. The Saliba and Gabriel, I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
It's funny though. But do you think that this Liverpool thing, the Klopp, the pressure, the build, I'm gonna keep asking you that, like, it's gonna, because I think it's gonna die down for now. The whole we're gonna do it for.
I think that was a big like.
It's gonna come back.
Arteta said, "Nah, you're not having your farewell tour here."
I think it's gonna come back though. I think
and I think that was a big one because I think Liverpool fans thought, yeah, Klopp's made this announcement. I did hear a Man United fans say, "What's he doing? Fergie won the league and then told us he was leaving. We didn't need this galvanizing." Which you could make that argument, man. Exactly. And the difference between last year and this year, and another way that I can categorically say, yeah, there's been development, there's been improvement. We've beaten both the title rivals at home,
which is huge.
We got a draw at Anfield.
Yeah,
we haven't lost to a Big Six team yet.
Yeah, that you spoke on it. That massive, Big Six record,
massive.
Us not losing to a Big Six team
because last year around this time we played Man City at the Emirates.
Yeah,
and we lost.
And we already lost to United by then.
Yeah. I think just for Arsenal to put that down and say, no, you're not coming to our ground, either of the title rivals, and taking any points from us.
It's huge.
Because like you say, that game at the Etihad now, if and I did say a Man City fan the other day say, Arsenal won't win the league, we'll come to the Etihad, we'll beat you 4-0. There's nothing I'm more sure about. We have a bad record at the Etihad, but if Arsenal can go there with a fully fit team, they only really need to get a draw.
Yeah.
Provided they do their job in other games.
We get 4 points off City, man.
And Liverpool.
We're in with a shout.
A real shout. If City don't beat us there, but that's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
That's way down the line, and stick around, man.
If
you followed us all season,
we'll see.
Keep following.
Shout out to you, Arsenal fans. I know it was a big weekend for us, man. There's a lot of people that are going to try and shit on our parade, but it was a big weekend for us.
A lot of people wanted to see our downfall.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that was it. So yeah, Arsenal fans walking out with their chest out, head held high, and rightfully so. And hopefully we've given you the Arsenal content. We've spoken for just over an hour.
Just over an hour on
Arsenal. I don't know how much we'll make the edit, probably most of it.
Yeah.
But enjoy it. Just lap it up. And like I said, if you don't want to listen to the Arsenal content, then we will move on to the other games now. And it was good to have Premier League football back.
It was
man.
great.
Away from the Arsenal game. Back. Obviously enjoyed the Arsenal game, but good to have Premier League football back, and nothing better than a big team going to Goodison Park.
Oh, is that where you're going?
I love that one, man.
Yeah.
I love that one. I know Everton didn't win the game, but I knew all week before that game, I know exactly what this game's going to be like.
Yeah.
Tottenham will play well in phases. Everton will have chances. The crowd will get up. the Goodison will rise. Atmosphere will build. Calvert-Lewin will miss a sitter. And nearly all of that happens.
Yeah.
And on the Spurs point of view, shout out Richarlison.
Shout out Richarlison.
Because he scored 2 great goals.
I'm trying to get him in my team.
Yeah. He scored 2 great goals, and I actually think the first one's a better goal.
You think?
I think the first one's so a lot of people might just look at it and say, "Oh, it's a simple finish or whatever."
Yeah.
Bro,
he shows patience.
If we had an Arsenal striker that could bag a goal like that,
yeah,
left foot, curled it round into the top corner, I actually think that was a better goal.
I do want to shout out Richarlison a lot because he's put it together, man. He's turned it around mentally, physically.
I think that's 9 in his last 8. Now.
He's looking strong. He's on a real purple patch, man. But yeah, shout out Everton, bro. Shout out Everton.
Like Jared Brantford at the end, man. I enjoyed that one.
Everton are resilient. They stayed in the game. At times you thought, I mean, it was always kind of a 50-50. Everton had their chances. Tottenham can't defend set pieces like
Vicario on corners.
Yeah, Tottenham can't defend.
Vodka Vic. He's being targeted now.
And he doesn't know what to do.
They found a weakness. Sean Dyche saw Pep Guardiola do it. He saw Ake score.
And he just said, I'm going to copy that.
And every corner, Tottenham was shook.
And it was James Harrison, who's not even that tall, stood right in front of Vicario. Vicario can't handle it. He can't deal with it. And Tottenham Everton should have had more than one from a corner. Yeah. Or from a set piece.
They should have.
So I want to give Sean Dyche a lot of praise for just being resilient as hell with his team, especially at Goodison.
Yeah.
Because there were patches when Tottenham were playing good stuff and it was going to blow them away. And there's certain times when Madison
especially at 2-1, Tottenham had a couple chances.
There's certain times when Madison drops a shoulder and sends a defender and you think, oh yeah, this is
overload.
This is done. This is done. But Braithwaite, man, I think he needs his love.
First goal for Everton.
I mean, he's been playing well. People have been speaking about him. I hope, in some ways, if Everton stay up, he doesn't get a move. Like, in many ways, learn your trade under Sean Dyche for a year.
Yeah, with Tarkowski.
Yeah, play every game.
I think Sean Dyche can build a very good team at Everton there.
I think I actually find it tough for Everton to move on. And like people like Idrissa Gana Gueye are good midfielders. Well, you're meaty midfielder, but I don't think Everton can move on unless they move on from Idrissa Gana Gueye. You need somebody in there
who's better than him,
who's younger than him, who can learn stuff, who can add to his game, who can I think James Garner's a good player. I think he's
Garner. I actually wanted to talk about.
Yeah, he's a good player
because I think James Garner's the one in that midfield who. Obviously, Onana's been injured. Doucouré's had back-to-back injuries. Yeah. James Garner's been getting out there every week, and he's putting in performances, man.
No, he is.
Man United guy. Man United
There's just a few players. I agree that he can build a good squad. There's just a few players.
It's his free kick for the second goal. His dead ball delivery, which for a team like Everton will be invaluable.
But you need to move on from Ashley Young.
Yeah.
You need to move on from Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Yeah.
You need to move on from Michael Keane. Obviously, you have Braithwaite and Tarkowski. And I think you might need somebody better than Mikalenko. He's all right, but I think you might need somebody better than Mikalenko. And then you need to move on from DCL.
And exactly. If you really make that next move,
you need to move on from DCL.
You get a better striker.
So those are the areas that Everton need to move on from.
But if they get 2 fullbacks in the summer
to climb up the table,
and then they can play their midfield of Onana if he's still there, Garner, and James Garner, and then Dwight McNeil, Harrison. And then maybe get a striker after that. I think Sean Dyche can build a decent team.
They've got some bones, and they've got a not bottom. I was gonna say call him a bottom table Klopp, but Sean Dyche, like Klopp, can infuse a mentality into a team of resilience and like metal and steel, and we don't lose at home, and all of this kind of stuff.
What Goodison's like.
Yeah, all of this kind of stuff that can help teams win football matches. But there is just certain players that are like whenever I see Michael Keane on the team sheet, there's there,
At least one mistake.
there's there's a goal for the opposition already banked. But I think as well, to be fair, I saw a lot of people captaining Werner. Like I saw like a lot of weird people captaining Werner, and I think he's another guy who is gonna be just so interesting.
That 90 minutes, yeah, I can tell you categorically, Werner did not want it with Godfrey. He did not want it, man.
Yo.
Anytime the ball was 50 or 60-40 in Werner's
He would
favor,
back out of it.
Yeah, and Godfrey's just.
I was saying that
stinging
Godfrey needed to come up. Like Godfrey got a yellow card for dissent or something.
Yeah.
And every time the ball would go out to Werner, that switch was always on.
Yeah.
Every time the ball would go out to Werner, Godfrey would run towards Werner.
But that's meat and drink to a guy like Godfrey.
He would run towards Werner as if he didn't care whether he got man or ball. And I was like, yo, you're on a yellow.
Yeah. But that's Godfrey's whole game.
That is his whole game.
That's Godfrey.
Is his whole game.
That's just who he is. But yeah,
it kind of stops Tottenham's momentum though.
And yeah, it did stop.
Because they were all talking about Tottenham going level on points of Arsenal, and Tottenham could have put a real sort of wedge between themselves and United and put themselves in the top 5 race like that. And now you're in a situation where I love Ange's post. Ange's, you know what I love about Ange? I don't even listen to what he has to say, but I love his body language pause when Tottenham draw or lose, especially a game that they think they should win. And he has this just like, he looks like a deer or something that you need to put down. Like his shoulders are so like, oh my God.
He's not even looking at the camera.
He doesn't look at the camera.
Questions looking down.
He's like, yeah, it was a good day. Before with Charleston. He's had that all year, mate. He's had that all year with Charleston. He's had the same mentality. It's just unlucky today. Like, I love it when they lose or when they drop points, and he has these shrugged shoulders. But what I would say, Tottenham are getting players back. Basuma's coming back. Marley got knocked out.
Yeah. South Korea just got knocked out today.
Oh, did they?
So Son's coming back.
Yeah. Tottenham are going to be in and amongst the top 5, man.
Yeah,
they play good enough football.
Their next game is going to be interesting because they play Brighton in their next game.
Oh.
And Brighton, who played Palace on the weekend.
Who's at home?
The derby. Tottenham are at home.
Okay.
But yeah, Brighton played Palace on the weekend, which they do consider a derby.
Yeah, M25.
And they completely bossed Palace. Came away 4-1 winners. They were 3-0 up at half time. Pascal Gross thing. Picking up assists. Buonanotte with a great finish. João Pedro scored a link up with Welbeck and Backheel, and
tidy.
And things it's looking real sticky for Roy right now.
I'm so surprised Roy's still in the job.
Same, bro.
I'm shocked.
And when the chips are down, this just like the chips are really down. He brings Elise on at half time because he's 3-0 down and wants to change things. And Elise gets injured after 9 minutes, and now he's out for 2 months.
He's out for 2 months after 9 minutes.
Yeah, he got injured. He came on at half time and he got injured after 9 minutes.
Oh my God, that is brutal, man.
Eze's out. As per.
I'm so shocked that Roy's still in it, to be fair. And Roy, I remember after the Liverpool loss, Roy came out and was just like, I'm not even going to miss football when it's done.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a man more ready for retirement. They always ask Roy what are his thoughts on next year, and he's like, he just muffles through the question. I can't really think about next year. It's so far in the future. You know, like, yeah. But I guess the question Crystal Palace will be asking themselves is who comes in?
Yeah. I think that's the big
who comes in. The problem is Roy, as bad as he is, will keep them up. Or as bad as the football is, will keep them up. They're not going to get dragged into relegation scrap.
Yeah.
You know, the teams, Everton, for example, are still.
But the football is bad.
The football's bad. The football is terrible.
The football is
and the scorelines.
Yeah.
I mean, the scorelines themselves. But I still
meant to be a derby.
I still think Roy will keep them up. So I think what Everton might be questioning, what Crystal Palace might be questioning is, if we make a change now, what can't happen is the floor to like cave in or the ceiling to cave in. And instead of having bad performances, but we have the odd result, draw, win. We just have terrible performances. And like, do you remember when Leeds got rid of Jesse March? And maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't have stayed up with Jesse March, but they just lost every game afterwards. And like,
but that's where the appointment's got to be.
It's got to be someone of
like I've seen Graham Potter at a couple Palace games. I don't know if that will happen because obviously been a Brighton manager, but I do. I'm with you, man. I'm surprised Roy after the Arsenal game I'm surprised he wasn't gone then.
Yeah, and I give credit for De Zerbi for plugging at it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how De Zerbi is 8th. It's not that Brighton have been terrible, but they go on these long spells where they don't win or they get battered, and you think, oh, I haven't seen Brighton win in the last 3 weeks. When you look at the table, and they're like 4 points behind United.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with United, isn't it?
Yeah.
United have lost like 10 plus games or something, and they're 5th or 6th.
So yeah, I don't get how I saw Tariq Lamptey getting assists.
Played well.
I was like, I do have an inquisition into like who's gonna finish between 10th. That actually might be more interesting than the top 4 stuff. Who's gonna finish 10th and 8th, like between 10th and 7th? Because Chelsea, Wolves, Brighton,
and
all
all pretty close.
It's all pretty close, and these are teams that are in there for so many.
Newcastle.
Like Wolves are overperforming. Yeah. Chelsea are underperforming.
Yeah.
You've got Newcastle in there, who, to be fair, I thought was still going to get to the top 4 at the beginning of the season, or finish in the top 5 at the beginning of the season. And they will win 3 games and lose 3 games.
Yeah.
Like if Wolves, for example, was to finish above Newcastle this year, like what would that would mean for like what that would mean for people like Eddie Howe and
He won't be the best English manager anymore.
Yo, it's gonna be tense down
but
there.
no, yeah, credit to De Zerbi, man. Like, if Brighton get European football again this year, our job well done.
Yeah, and to be fair,
any sort of
as
Euro.
always, the style of football is beautiful. Some of the goals they were scoring were amazing.
Then the next round of the Europa League, they finished top of their group, so they're straight into the round of 16. So yeah, shout out them, and yeah, big problems for Palace. But we'll move on. Burnley versus Fulham.
Yeah,
2-2. Fulham went 2-0 up.
Fofana.
David Datra Fofana.
David Datra.
The Chelsea guy.
Yeah.
2 goals on his debut. Celebrated with the guy in the crowd. He was loving it, and that's the first time all season that Burnley have picked up points from a losing
position. And it was also
so credit Burnley.
It's the first time all season Burnley have had some sort of focal man with any sort of something about him. Like it was kind of like watching Brentford get Tony.
You don't rate Jay Rodriguez.
God, Meaty, even less than Meaty.
But you know what? Fulham should have killed the game.
Fulham should have killed the game 100%. And I mean, it's not even like Fofana's goals were weird ones as well because
Leno on the first one. I've seen that too many times. Man.
But at the very least, Burnley had somebody to aim at in the box who was a threat, who could win something in the air, who could get onto the end of a cross, and like they just haven't had that all season. I just felt like when I watched Burnley, there is no impetus.
Yeah,
like, they've been playing a lot of nice tiki-taka stuff, and they'll create a shot at the edge of the area that a guy will blast wide or hit straight at the keeper. And then when teams are like, all right, let's just shut down the middle, Burnley are like, all right, calm. Let's concede 3 or 4 now.
Let's just completely shut off.
Let's just lose this game entirely.
But I'll give them their praise for coming back this week. First time they've done that in a Premier League game.
They're gonna need a lot more of this, man, if they want to do anything.
But yeah, man, it doesn't look like a company's gonna get sacked at any point either. So yeah, these managers.
I guess you can't release the doc of 100 points and sack him in the season.
On the flip side of company, another manager who got promoted by the playoffs, Rob Edwards at Luton. Went to St James's Park, 4-4. They were 4-2 up.
Yeah. Interesting game, man.
I think Rob Edwards deserves a lot of credit for what he's doing with that Luton team, man.
Yo, Luton play like some
3-4-3.
Yeah.
With Adebayo and Morris. Barkley and Lokonga is that's going to be a street won't forget pivot, man.
I still don't know why company was saying all that about Lokonga and then left him didn't sign him up. But Lokonga's really coming into it now.
Yeah.
Like he feels comfortable in the system.
But I mean, the way Rob Edwards
is killing it.
Ogbene
is killing
he's a winger. Rob Edwards said, "Yeah, you're gonna play wing back for me."
Yeah, he's
up and down. He gave Dan Burn nightmares. Dan Burn slept well on Saturday night because Ogbene ran him ragged.
Man,
and yeah, I think he deserves credit for that, man. He's setting them up like that.
No, Rob Edwards
we were saying that they will pick up points at home. But to go to, we lost there. Liverpool just about got there.
Man City
Chelsea
got
slapped there.
Yeah,
Like for him to go there and actually like, bro, to be 4-2 up, score 4 goals.
They should have. It was unfortunate they didn't start the game. It was brilliant. From
Shout out
Martinelli.
Elijah Adebayo as well. Midweek hat trick.
Yeah,
9 Prem goals for him.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and I was saying this off air. I think the interesting thing about Luton is like every time Everton get a result, draw versus Fulham midweek, draw versus Tottenham in 2 games that maybe you would have said they would have lost. Like Luton get a win, Luton get a draw at teams that you thought, oh, they're definitely gonna lose these games. You're not thinking they're gonna put 4 past Brighton. Yeah,
and then 4 past Newcastle.
Yeah,
they scored 8 goals in a week.
So I do agree with you, man. Rob Edwards deserves huge credit for just staying in and around it, showing more than signs of life, showing like an actual.
Because at the start of the season, everyone, Vincent Company, Burnley's going to play this kind of football. There's no doubt who I think is a better manager.
Yeah, showing signs of life, 100%. And Kenilworth Road is a place I have said at this point. I'm not counting out Luton at Kenilworth Road.
Yeah.
They're going to pick up points there from now until the end of the season. And as long as Morris and Adebayo can stay fit, it's like the biggest big man, little man partnership.
Yeah.
It's
just big man, big man.
Yeah. And they got the guys out wide. They got Doherty, they got Ogbene, who are putting balls in the box, who are stretching teams. And they're gonna make it interesting. They are gonna make it interesting for Everton down there. We'll see what happens with the point deduction and Nottingham Forest if you're not careful.
Yeah.
More than if you're not careful.
And Newcastle look like they're struggling a bit.
Yeah.
Longstaff bagged the brace though. Harvey Barnes got a goal on his return.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes scored a good goal.
And Murphy missed a sitter.
Yeah.
Should have won the game. Great ball in from Bruno G. But I wanted to ask you, what's Barkley saying for the England squad in the summer?
Barkley's one of those guys where it's like, if you ask me whether he should be in, he probably has more quality than like Henderson. And he's probably shown more than Jordan Henderson. But Henderson will always get in. We're talking about Gareth Southgate's England. Like
Gareth Southgate was in Amsterdam to watch Henderson for Ajax.
Gareth Southgate has his guys who he trusts and will put them in. Henderson is going to break up a Jude Bellingham and Rice midfield. It's gonna be champagne football, and then whatever Henderson wants to do in midfield, and that guaranteed that is what Southgate's gonna do.
And if you were England manager,
if I was England manager, and you as Antonio was saying at MNF, if you say you're gonna do things off form, if I was doing things off form, Barkley would be in my team. Yeah. And the thing about Barkley is he's actually so 2-footed. Yeah. Like he's such a dirty footballer.
His composure, like on his goal.
Yeah.
He takes the touch.
He's so 2-footed. And I'm not even saying that he should be starting for England. We're not trying to say anything crazy like that, but he has enough quality.
I would happily start him.
And has seen enough football to be in and around the squad.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think I do want to give a lot of credit to Harvey Barnes as well, man.
Yeah,
he's been out for time. No one was even mentioning his names. We're doing top wingers. We're doing all this kind of stuff.
I had him, didn't I?
Yeah. But like, it was tough to have him because he hadn't played any football for a minute, and he's coming straight. And it's on his weaker foot.
Yeah.
Like he's picking up the ball. I love it. It's so Premier League to
he's
be
a winger that scores goals though. That's one thing Harvey Barnes does.
It's so Premier League to be out for forever and score on the day you come back.
Yeah.
So shout at him, and we'll see. I think I wanted Luton to win, but I was kind of happy for Newcastle because I want this 10 to 7 to 8 position battle to be really interesting.
And we know in that top 4 race, like usually teams are just kind of throwing it away. So even these guys that were saying Brighton, Newcastle, if they can put a couple wins together and be there or thereabouts, that might bring 4 or 5 teams into that top 4 race.
100%.
But we'll move it on to the Saturday evening game. Shef versus Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Villa were 3-0 up after 20 minutes, I think. Shef fans were leaving. And I was watching this game, and on commentary at one point, I think when Villa were 4-0 up or something, the commentator was like, "Oh, you just have to feel sorry for these lads. You just have to feel sorry for the Shef players. They just can't compete. They just don't have the quality to compete." And I was sat there listening to it, and I was like, yeah, maybe, but can I really just sit here and say,
all the way feeling it,
and say, yeah, you lot are losing 5-0 at home because you don't have the quality?
Yo,
can we really just put that to the side and say, yeah, that's it?
What I'm gonna say is, Chris Wilder set him up all wrong. Yeah. Like Watkins had the length of the pitch to run into. Douglas Luiz wasn't getting pressed enough in midfield. It was like a
Douglas
training.
Luiz, who played parts of the season.
It was a brilliant. Well, it was like a training game. Like Douglas Luiz would turn. The goal, as you're saying, the brilliant pass. Yeah, he picks up the ball from his centre back, strolls into midfield,
No pressure.
doesn't get pressed. The centre back who's already on the halfway line with Watkins having time and space in behind. Watkins just makes a straight run.
Yeah.
At Douglas Luiz, it is a brilliant pass. Don't get me wrong, it is a brilliant pass, but it's like that wasn't the first time that Watkins made that run and got the ball.
Yeah.
Because he did it in the first goal. He did it before the first goal. Where he should have.
It could have been 8-0 again.
But fair play to Villa for taking their chances and killing a game in the first 30 minutes. Sometimes teams play with their food.
Shout out Ollie Watkins. What's he got, like 10 and 11 or something?
Yeah, like he's doing his thing. And I agree with your point that I don't think it's enough just to say that Sheffield shouldn't compete.
They got to be doing more.
You got to be doing more. Have a game plan to make it hard for teams.
You can't even if you just say, look, every game is a cup final. Like if that was a cup tie, there's no way that would be like that.
But and to maybe go against myself a little bit, I want to say that they have shown a little bit more with Brereton Diaz in the club.
Yeah. He scored some nice goals.
He scored some nice goals. They've shown a little bit more bite.
But that's just what happened on Saturday.
I know.
But the thing is, I don't really want to say it's a lack of effort or whatever. Like you're saying, Chris Wilder got it all wrong. So tactically, they're set up like a mess. But is and this is a genuine question. This is genuinely me asking: is the quality difference between Sheffield and Villa just a case of they're going to get slapped 5-0 today, or is the quality?
It's not,
because there is an argument to say that the quality of those Sheffield players is bad, man. Like it's low.
The quality of those players is bad, but that is Chris Wilder. That's management. Chris Wilder telling his defenders to defend Watkins and Bailly on the halfway line and give them all that time and space in behind and not pressure Douglas Luiz. It's like a half-baked plan put together. Or maybe, to be fair, it is the players who just can't execute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's 5-0 to Aston Villa, but like coming out at the second half, the game was done.
Yeah.
Like and it wasn't just scoreline done. It was mentally Sheffield knew they weren't going to get anything in this game, and I don't think that quality wise, but that mental factor as well. Yeah. You should still be coming into games, even having had a poor 45 minutes, thinking you could probably win the second half. Like Sheffield just knew they weren't going to win the second half.
They're going to score. Yeah, they're going to do anything. But that's where like Luton have certain assets, like we said, that Alfie Doughty, dead ball delivery on point all the time, can put a ball in the box. Adebayo is going to cause a problem. But they
play to their strengths.
Devoid, yeah, they do, and credit the manager. But what is Sheffield's strengths? How do Sheffield play? Where are their options?
Yeah,
we need to we need to get the best out of this guy.
But that's what I'm saying. They got a bit more out of themselves with Brereton Diaz in the side. Like they have this Gustavo Halma kid who's playing nice balls. He has some technical ability. But I hear your point, but I don't think it's enough.
Because me personally, I don't know. I don't know whether we can just say, yeah, it's the quality, or whether it is just a lack of effort.
I mean, to be fair, we shit on Foderingham every week.
Yeah.
Let
us know in the comments what you think.
Yeah.
I think that's quite an interesting.
I agree that they don't have the quality, but I don't think
it's 5-0.
Yeah, I think they could be way more competitive still.
Yeah, compact.
Whilst not having the quality.
Yeah.
Like make it tough. It wasn't tough for Villa to break them down.
Exactly.
It wasn't tough at all for Villa to break them down.
But when they appointed Chris Wilder, I assumed that was going to happen.
And this is at home.
And I don't think Chris Wilder's telling them, let's play this expansive and be left wide open, which makes me then think Chris Wilder's trying to get them
and another thing we've been saying about Villa is Villa have been poor away from home.
Yeah.
Make it a cauldron, put it on them. Make your fans, apart from your fans leaving in the first 20 minutes, make them stay until the 80th minute.
Exactly.
There's one goal in it. They all get behind you. You see what you can do. But nah.
But maybe the players out on the pitch just can't execute the instructions. Or well, we won't know. We won't know unless we get Chris Wilder on this pod one day.
Yeah.
And we can ask
I think part of it is there is some truth to the question, but I don't think it's all. They can still be more competitive. It's not all the way the truth.
Yeah.
They can still be way more competitive.
And like we mentioned a couple people on the Villa side, but Leon Bailey,
Mr. X Factor for them, man. He's
X Factor.
even midweek, he's ripping guys.
Yeah.
2v1s, 1v1s. You don't want to leave him alone. There is no reason for Emery to start Diaby ahead of Leon Bailey.
Yeah.
And that is crazy considering that's why Emery bought Diaby.
Yeah.
But there is no reason.
I mean, the way Bailey, just stands up the defender and then just wraps it in the top corner so easily. Even midweek when he came on against Newcastle, he changed the game. Created chances, through balls, he's like a proper kind of almost Riyad Mahrez-esque kind of winger.
And the thing about Bailey is he's turning good cameos and performances into actual numbers, goals and assists, contributions. So I've got a lot of time and respect for him because he was somebody who was kind of like meandering. He was injured, he was in, he was out. He would score a wonder goal and then be out for a couple months. But he's found a manager's found a system for him that suits his strengths. And he's ripping guys.
He's just got to stay fit now.
He's proper ripping guys.
Just got to stay fit.
He does.
But yeah, we'll move on to Sunday's games. Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest ended 1-1. Not too much to talk about. I know Solanke didn't actually score in this game, but he's got 13 league goals.
Yeah.
Only Haaland and Salah are ahead
have
of
more.
him.
Yeah, no. He probably either one, he gets a massive contract at Bournemouth, which I don't think is wise.
No, I think he'll get a move.
But I was going to say, he probably has to get a move.
Make the West Ham move.
Mikel out.
Bowen.
Antonio out.
Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus.
Solanke.
Behind Solanke.
Yeah.
Ward-Prowse. Alvarez.
The Ward-Prowse to Solanke from set pieces.
Get Harry Maguire in the summer as well. That's West Ham. Get me in there, man.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll make those moves. Maguire and Solanke. Summer business done.
West Ham, I don't think have won a game all year.
Yeah, they have. Well, we know.
Should whisper those words. Yeah.
So let's and we know what we're like. So let's hold on to that. But on the Forest side, Callum Hudson-Odoi, great goal.
Yeah.
Great goal. I remember when we were doing the podcast and we saw him score one against Burnley. He wrapped in the top corner, came in, buried it. And
it's good to see that they have it in his locker.
From this guy, he had his first minutes midweek against us. Came on at half time. Instantly knew there was a threat there. Yo, Awoniyi is a problem, man. Awoniyi is a problem.
Every time he plays,
when the balls get coming up and it's bouncing and Awoniyi's pinned your defender, long day. And he's going to be vital for Forest.
He's going to be vital for Forest. And he will need to score sort of 5 or 6 between now and the end of the season.
So glad that away trip's done now.
It's over with,
glad. So glad. City and Liverpool both have to go there.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to get real tense when teams are fighting to keep their head above water.
And Nuno in a relegation battle, best believe that block is going to be low. That block is going to be low.
And rigid.
Alanga's back.
Yeah.
Awoniyi, Gibbs White, Alanga, Hudson-Odoi. I'm here for it.
Danilo in midfield.
But, and this is going to be a long pod today. So some of you guys might enjoy that. Some of you guys might just tune into some of the parts. But this team and this game, both these teams really, but this game
is huge.
They need their time. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4. Wolves' first win at Stamford Bridge in 45 years. That's what Gary O'Neill's doing. He's getting Wolves their first win at an away ground that they haven't won at in 45 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive.
Chelsea went 1-0 up and Wolves came back, ended up making it 4-1 before Chelsea got a late consolation. But, I mean, who do you want to talk about first here? Because both teams deserve their time for different reasons.
I'll actually start with Wolves,
okay,
because I think that Chelsea's going to be a longer conversation. Shout out to Gary O'Neill. It's not even just the it's not even just the wins, but they're putting in good performances. They have a game plan of how they can exploit their strengths to get goals and win games and be a threat. I mean, they lost the game against United, but they still scored 3 goals.
And Gary O'Neill, obviously, we spoke when he did the Monday Night Football and the tactical stuff that he said. I saw his interview on, I think it was Match of the Day after the game. And he was like, yeah, we took something from the Man United game and looked at those and changed those because in the Man United game, we were too open in certain situations, allowed them too much space in certain situations. And Gary O'Neill is a manager that I'm looking at now. And I'm like, this guy has a plan for every single game.
Yeah.
Every single game, he's looking at the fine details, almost a bit like what Arteta's done at the weekend. The way he's pressed and the way he's changed things up. And he brought in João Gomez. He had João Gomez next to Lamina. I think he might have taken. Oh, I think Bellegarde played with Neto and Cunha, and he had Cunha picking up the ball deeper, playing in more central positions. I think Gary O'Neill's actually going to these managers, and he's actually he tactically bossed Pochettino.
He was setting traps, man. He was setting
Yeah,
traps, like I say.
yeah.
He was setting traps for Enzo, like Chelsea's progressive passes. And I agree with you 100%, man. He's coming into every game with a game plan of how I can exploit not only them but ourselves to get our right guys in positions, man. And I think some Wolves players need that. Pedro Neto, he needs a shine.
I think that's the other thing that Gary O'Neill has kind of almost, obviously, he's made these guys better players, and you have to maximize them, right? And I wouldn't even say even how highly I rated Pedro Neto that Gary O'Neill's made him better.
Yeah,
and that definitely with Mateus Cunha. But that's almost a bit of stroke of luck that Gary O'Neill maybe deserves, is that he's fallen into a club with counter-attacking demons in Cunha and Neto.
That's the best way to put it. Cunha and Neto are counter-attacking demons. Like, they can both dribble past 2 or 3 people to set each other up.
And have an end product.
Yeah, exactly. Especially this season. And it actually is kind of... Counter-attacking football is always beautiful to watch. But when you're seeing guys like Neto, as you say, who have a game plan when they get the ball on the counter,
I was saying earlier off air that Pedro Neto's a guy. It's automatic.
Yeah.
When he before he gets
got
the
post up
ball,
move.
It's premeditated. He knows exactly what he does to Varane in the Man United game. He knows when I get this ball, I'm gonna go straight at Varane and I'm gonna pull it to the near post.
And the same thing with Cunha, man. Cunha can pick up the ball on the halfway line, and I said this earlier in the pod, early in the season. Cunha could pick up the ball on the halfway line and glide. How he wins the penalty?
The penalty, exactly.
And just glide past people.
And Gusto just can't keep up.
And that's, that's 60, 70 minutes from the clock.
Yeah.
Like, he's already been running around for an hour. And Cunha's turned it around. The coincidence between Cunha turning it around with his finishing and Wolves climbing up the table, leapfrogging Chelsea. Like, if you have a guy who can put the ball on the back of the net, who instead of having a good performance but still losing to Chelsea 1-0 or 2-0 at the Bridge, you have a good performance and win 4-2 at the Bridge. Those 2 points mean all the difference. Those 3 points mean all the difference in the table. And you're so far of relegation scraps that the rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, the Wolves in the last couple of weeks, man, they're in dreamland. They beat West Brom, obviously, other than the Man United game, but they scored 3 goals. They played pretty well. Piece of brilliance from Kobbie Mainoo won them the game in that. But yeah, and then they've got them won at Stamford Bridge, a place they haven't won in 45 years.
They're 10th in the table. They're literally above Chelsea. And
even if they got a point in the Man United game, that would have been, the table would have looked even closer.
Yeah,
nothing but praise for Wolves.
They're in that. I'm going to speak about it again. They're in that top 7.
I hope they get Europe.
Shouts.
I really hope they get Europe.
It would be unthinkable for Wolves to finish above the 3 teams ahead of them now: Newcastle, Brighton, West Ham, and they're only ahead of them by 4 points. Well, West Ham is ahead of them by 4 points. It would be unthinkable for Wolves to finish ahead of them. And they have players to come back. They have Hee-Chan Wan to come back. Nuri just come back from injury and stuff.
Yeah.
See, that would be huge for Gary O'Neill, and he would probably move. Like, if Gary, he'd probably get the what job are we talking about? Anyway, there's many jobs.
I don't think he would.
I don't think he should.
If he got Wolves into Europe, I think he'd quite happily go again.
I think kind of like Graham Potter, kind of like Frank Lampard. When you're offered these jobs, it's just
but where does he go to? What's better for Gary O'Neill?
They could get rid of Poch.
Chelsea. Yo, that is a brilliant segue. That is a brilliant segue, right? Because if Chelsea fans sack Pod and they hear Gary O'Neill's coming in, Chelsea fans will be a meltdown. Gary O'Neill. They went from sacking Lampard.
Tell me you can't see Chelsea doing that. A young manager.
But Chelsea fans will be livid.
A young manager to go with the young players.
Chelsea fans. Chelsea can't. They want Mourinho, bro.
Chelsea can't go for a win now manager.
Chelsea want Mourinho.
That is
every
like
Chelsea fan is saying bring back Mourinho.
Oil and water. That is literally oil and water. What Mourinho to deal with 21-year-old Mudryk.
DIJK.
The dungeon Mudryk would be in.
Yeah, I know it's long. It's long. But they should accept Gary O'Neill because what he's been doing.
Tidy.
Yo.
Project.
But exactly. Moving on to Chelsea. big problems at Chelsea. Can't stress this enough. There are major issues at Chelsea. And before we even talk about their performance in the Wolves game, we didn't have a chance to pod after the midweek fixtures, but we have to talk about
They got slapped
what
up.
happened to them at Anfield.
Yeah.
Because, and me and Michael have already spoken quite a bit about this, but
They got
I
slapped
have
up.
seen, and this is, I want Chelsea fans to listen to me here and take me from a point of understanding. Like, I feel your pain right now, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm glad it's happening to you lot, because this Chelsea downfall, we've said it before, I'll enjoy every minute of it, right? If it could have happened to any team, Chelsea needed this to happen.
Yeah.
Because that, I'm leaving with something at the end of the season. Finished.
It's
finished. You're not going to be that team anymore.
I think Chelsea fans are gearing up for winter anyway.
Yeah.
Like a long period out in this.
yeah. The realization is really setting in that this is what you are now. Yeah.
There is no excuse.
But strictly on that 90 minutes at Anfield, I have seen Arsenal put that exact
performance
90 minutes into the T. Yeah.
They're just missing a red card.
Exactly. Yeah. An own goal.
Yeah.
Something like that. Right. But I would say a screamer, but Conor Bradley made his debut.
He's done it.
I've seen that performance so many times when Arsenal go to Anfield. And I said this to Michael, and I want to say it again. If you think you're a good team, yeah, the litmus test is always when that team goes to Anfield. And then you'll find out if that team is really... That's why last year, even though we're in the title race and people want to say that the wheels fell off at Anfield and whatever, go to Anfield and get a point. Good result.
Yeah.
Always good result. Always. This year, I was buzzing with the point that we got at Anfield. And I remember when Emery was on like a 22-game unbeaten run and we went to Anfield and I believed. That's probably the last time I believed we could get anything at Anfield. It was about 3-4 years ago. I thought, yeah, you know what, 22 games unbeaten.
The Pepe game.
Socrates, they're all in the form of their life. I was like, yeah, we can go there and do something. And Firmino, Ragdoll, Tourette, all slipping and sliding, scoring hat-tricks, whatever. Anfield's the litmus test for that. And I saw that 90 minutes. Chilwell, bullied. I've seen that with Bellerin.
That Chilwell
Badia Shield. Shit show. I've seen that with Mustafi.
Yeah.
Like everything that was going on.
The midfield man in that game, Enzo, how careless.
Forward players hiding.
You know what's so funny? It's the back-to-back fixtures. I thought Enzo in that Chelsea game, sorry, in the Liverpool game, was so careless on the ball. Like, he would try a 20-yard pass, it goes out of play. His 5-yard passes don't make it. He knows he's going to be pressed. Yep. He takes 3 or 4 touches. Curtis Jones is already at him. And then on the weekend, I thought Caicedo was the exact same. Like, he was so careless on the ball. Every time they pressed him, they got joy. He had an issue, to be fair. He had an assist, which you have to give him credit for. But...
And when Chelsea went 1-0 up, I did think, okay, cool, they'll come back, they'll bounce back, they'll win this game. But Wolves that up.
Yeah. But I just think that...
I think we need to have a serious conversation about for the quality of these Chelsea players.
For your 2 £100 million midfielders to have a midweek stinker one and the other one to have a weekend stinker in 2 huge games. Midweek, you had won 3 games in a row. Yeah, someone in there should have had some confidence. They all played in those games. Someone in there should have had some confidence and said, you know what, we're a good team.
Yeah,
I'm going to get on the ball and show you. And then the other game is you need to bounce back. Someone needs to show some experience and some character and say, hey, look, we are a good team. We're better than what we showed midweek. I'm going to get in the ball and show you. And for both your £100 million signings, pretty much in both games. But I thought Enzo was worse in the first game and Caicedo was worse in the second game.
Yeah.
To stink it up the way they've done. Chelsea officially have 10 losses in the Premier League.
Bottom half of the table now.
And as you say, man, that the the jig is up on some of these players who you spent huge money on.
I said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you remember, but I was like, we might just need to have some serious conversations.
Yeah, the jig is up on some of these players. Like,
for me, I've been a big Poch guy, and I do still believe that Pochettino is a good manager. I don't think he'd do what he did at Tottenham.
Yeah, if he wasn't.
If you're not. But I can see why Chelsea fans want him out. And I can see that he will probably lose his job.
Yeah.
Like fairly soon. Right?
Yeah, soonish.
But I don't think that there's another manager that comes in and gets this I don't think Chelsea will qualify for Europe. If you sack Pochettino now and you brought in another manager, I
No.
don't think they'd get into Europe.
I don't know if they get into Europe, but I do think, and this is to contradict my
The
point.
gains would be very marginal.
I do think that for as poor as these players have been, that there is a player. Like my point I'm trying to make is Enzo will never be 115 or 105 million pound player. Never. He'll never be that probably. But there is maybe a 40 million pound player in there, you know, or a 35 million pound player in there,
which is crazy.
Which is crazy because you've been bumped.
You just whacked off like 70% of his price tag.
Yeah. But you can get a 40 million pound player performance out of Enzo where he could be spraying it in and around. You can do a James Ward-Prowse type of thing, for your team. Surely some manager out there, and especially with Caicedo next to him, who we've seen. I know you only did it for 1 year, but we've seen him put in decent performances at Brighton. And I actually genuinely expect a manager, maybe, as I said, you can't recoup the whole fee, but get some system. We're now in February. You can clearly see Poch doesn't know his best team.
Yeah, I mean, it's already being leaked that he might go to a 5 at the back. And
he's moving. He's switched Enzo and Conor Gallagher so many times in terms of who he plays them with, like who he partners Thiago Silva with. He was playing Cucurella at right back sometimes. Like it's been all over the place, and I do think that another manager might not get them to a Champions League or not Champions League, European football position, but he might get some solidarity out of those players, some solidarity, some consistency in performance. Because it's not even that Chelsea have massive highs. Like their biggest highs are probably a 4-4 draw with City at home. Yeah. But their lows, man. Some of the results at Stamford Bridge. They lost to Nottingham Forest at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
You know, like,
they've been beaten a lot at home.
A lot at home. And like I just don't think
they're calling it Stamford Brothel.
I just don't think
everyone's scared they're taking what they want.
I just don't think you can excuse the manager in that, because a lot of that is just set the same team and set the standards in that team and say, yo, we don't lose at home, or at home everybody runs 10 kilometers. We're at home, we do this, we do that, we press. But it's not that Poch doesn't have a clue. It's just that he sees something, they get whacked, and he's like, I'm gonna change this all. I'm gonna rip that whole script up, and start again.
You see, where I agree with you is that Poch should be doing better. 100%. The quality in that squad is not an 11th place team.
Exactly.
But I think if you have to give Poch until the end of the season, to see, because Pochettino could end up finishing 7th or 8th, and he might somehow scramble into Europe.
I could win a cup,
right? And he could win a trophy. Exactly. So I think you give him until the end of the season. But he has got to do better. But where I somewhat, there's no way Pochettino wanted a lot of the players he's got.
Right. That was poor.
Pochettino wants to press high. We know that.
Yeah.
If there's one
thing, players that can run.
There's one thing we know about Pochettino's teams is that they press high. His Tottenham team were the best pressing team in the league before Jurgen Klopp came. Like, that's one thing he wants to do. And then he's got Dizazi or Badiashile or whoever it is who can't defend wide areas, can't play on the halfway line.
Dizazi in wide areas, bro.
He wants an enforcer in midfield, like Victor Wanyama kind of player.
Yeah.
But Caicedo's not really that. Caicedo's best position is probably as a number 8.
Yeah. We've not seen Lavia play a minute.
Number 6, exactly, because Lavia's been injured and Kunku's been out. So I think that the sporting director for whoever it is has let him down there with the recruitment. But I genuinely think that whatever manager Chelsea look at and say bring him in, they could bring in Mourinho and go backwards. They could get worse.
No, Mourinho's not the shout.
Like,
that's just.
I don't think Poch is the biggest problem at Chelsea.
He's not the biggest problem at Chelsea. Going back to Mourinho is like going back to your toxic ex. Like it's
that's how Oman describes it.
Yeah, it's like going back to your toxic ex. Like it's not a good idea.
But like, your party wants to do it anyway.
At 4 a.m. drunk, it sounds nice. In the depths of despair, you're like,
when the chips are down.
Oh, this would be a good idea. But I've never seen Jose do miracles with a young team. Jose's always had experienced players who win now kind of guys.
That's Jose. That's not for Jose.
Yeah, it's not for Jose. And it's not for Jose, especially now at this age. But I agree with you. Like they should probably hold up for Poch to the end of the season. But the thing is, if a manager is unhappy with the players that he has at his disposal, with the money Chelsea have spent, that is a problem.
Yeah,
Chelsea can't spend much more money. Like
FFP. They can't even sack him.
They've pushed it to the limits.
Yeah.
So the
And
manager
that's
has
on
to be happy
Pochettino.
with the player.
That's on Pochettino as well, because Pochettino would have known that there's no way. I think any manager says, "Oh, do I have control over the transfer?" That agreement is laid out before he comes in there. So Pochettino knows that.
But if Pochettino's unhappy with his players and the players are unhappy with Pochettino, something's got to give.
Mm.
Chelsea have to be in a situation where the manager is happy with the players that they have, because those are the players that they have for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, those are the players that are locked down in contracts. Mudryk, I think Mudryk is raw, to say the least, to be kind to him. Super,
Because there was a point on this podcast where you said you see it.
I see, like,
the diamond in the rough.
He still has that, like, electric ability. Even, like, he took the corner, for example, for Thiago Silva's. In these situations,
is that what we're doing now?
Well, in these situations where there's no pressure on Mudryk, no one's expecting anything.
Yeah,
he'll show bare minimum. He'll hit the ball with decent technique, or he'll show great speed to get past the player. But anytime Chelsea have any big opportunity and it falls to Mudryk's feet, not only does he miss, he puts it high and wide every time.
Yeah.
But for Poch to go forward, he has to be patient, or willing to be patient with all of this ball. If Klopp's like, I'm done with Mudryk, we need somebody else, then Poch has to go.
Yeah.
Because this is the guy that you have.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, easier to change Poch.
Yeah, this is the guy that you have. If Poch says, like...
But I can see Mudryk's career going down a very, very similar path to Anthony Martial.
Yeah, easy.
I can see that path already.
Easy.
The 1v1 on some of these players, especially with the way they played at Anfield in midweek, we got to talk about them. Badiashile.
Actually, I used to have high stocks in Badiashile.
Yeah, I used to tell Arman, I can kind of see it. Nice. But then Arman came on the pod and called him a Rolls Royce. And that was one step too far. Because Badiashile, that fourth goal in the Liverpool game when Luis Diaz just runs off the back of it.
Yeah. He acts like he doesn't know he's there. It's unbelievable.
Ben Chilwell.
Chilwell in that Liverpool game.
And this is what I really don't get sometimes, is that Champions League run with Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
James and Chilwell locked off Mahrez, locked off all these guys in the Champions League in that run. He was brilliant. Yeah. But the way that his performances in the last two games, and bear in mind, he's coming back from injury.
He must still be injured, though. He must still be injured.
Shocking, absolutely terrible.
I agree with
performances from Chilwell. And yeah, man, I think it's going to be tough, because you're looking at selling the academy guys for pure profit and whatever.
Yeah,
trying to sell Broja for 50 million, which is nuts. But Enzo, Mudryk, Caicedo, all of these guys, they're locked in. They're locked in. You have to deal with
Sassy Badiashile. They're locked in. They're proper locked in, and that I'll repeat that. Like, you need a manager that looks at those core group of players and is like, I can find a system, I can find a structure that can generate points and wins and exciting football. Because you don't have time for a manager to come in and say, I need you to spend another 100 mil on a right winger, or and
especially if Chelsea aren't making Europe and they're not getting the money.
The squad is too big as it stands. Yeah. Like, you can't sell the core guys. Who's picking up Mudryk on more than just a loan?
Yeah.
Who's picking up
paying Mudryk's wages?
Enzo on more than just a loan. Caicedo on more than just a loan.
It's a dark place to be, man.
But there's no excuse for me or from Chelsea fans that I can hear for as a reason as to why they should be 11th at this stage of the season, with the money that they've spent, with the hype that they were speaking with at the beginning of the season. And like, they made it seem as if it was a one season blip. And, in some ways I bought into it. Like, I didn't think Chelsea were going to have an amazing season, but I didn't think they could have a worse season potentially than last year.
Yeah.
And they're in a precarious situation where it could actually genuinely be worse than last year.
And the one guy who is stepping up is the guy that just kind of fell into their lap on deadline day. And they just decided, not someone that they actually looked at and thought, we need this guy. But Cole Palmer's doing his thing, man.
He still wins, unfortunately, even when Chelsea loses, because he's developing as a football player. And if somebody else wants to come and big him, like, take him, you're going to get a really good player out of him. But Cole Palmer's got it.
Yeah, whatever manager comes in, Cole Palmer's going to be in that 11. He's going to be in that team.
And to my point versus Liverpool, when I said that some Liverpool players Like signings, we're still figuring out. Like Chelsea have 10 times more question marks over their signings over the last 2 to 3 years than Liverpool do.
Yeah.
Like 10 times larger question marks as well for bigger price tags. And that stuff is unavoidable, man. And I am fully in on on Wolves finishing above Chelsea, on
Yeah.
all these teams finishing above Chelsea. I'd love for Chelsea to finish on the bottom half of the table.
Well, I predicted them to finish top 4,
Yeah,
which is looking. I did think they would win this game on the weekend, but yeah, it's looking sticky, man. But that cup final is massive
the cup final is huge.
because if they win the cup final, Chelsea fans will. That will be a
Hey,
real.
Jackson's just come back.
Do you see the chance he missed?
yeah.
That will give Pochettino some real kind of sort of credit in the bank
Yeah.
of like, okay, we can be shit, but Chelsea have been shit before,
And won
but we
trophies.
still win something.
And it will give him so much leeway with the fans. Like Arteta winning the FA Cup.
Exactly.
Like they'll be like,
if he can win that final, he'll
Yeah.
have till the end of the season, guaranteed.
yeah, guaranteed.
But
He's got to get there though.
what can't happen is they can't get slapped the way they did on Wednesday when they went
Not
to
to teams
Anfield.
like and also you can't be conceding to 4 to Wolves at home.
Yeah.
No red cards, no 4 goals to Wolves at home. And I know we've given Wolves a lot of credit, but they're not a team to turn up at your place and put 4 past you.
Yeah, and not Stamford Bridge, man. Stamford Bridge is meant to be a big ground on whatever. And yeah, I think some of the comments Pochettino's coming out with aren't great. Like Omar messaged me because he was at the game and he was like, I think Poch was 1 goal away from a sacking today. 'Cause if that had been 5-2,
5-2.
But he's also said, like, we spoke about Mikel Arteta and how inspiring he can
have to be,
in presses, right? When he talks about Smith Rowe, I've never seen him do his rehab like this before.
Yeah, he's a different
and
player.
A wonderful player to watch. Majestic. All this, perfect game for Kai Havertz and all of that. Pochettino's coming out and he's saying, oh, we lost to Liverpool and we got harassed by the media. Liverpool lost to Arsenal, and I'm not seeing the same sort of thing. It's like, Poch, you're at a big club now,
but you're
not a Tottenham anymore.
Yeah,
these kind of things aren't gonna fly.
I think I agree with you that you got to do better as a manager in the press conference. But I think this is his first time. No, it can't be because he was at PSG. But like, I know I can understand. I feel like what it's like to be spiraling like you're losing game after game. All the old points are being brought right back to the table.
Yeah.
And you're just journalists here will ask you the most disrespectful question and just put the mic back in your face, and you're scrambling.
Yeah,
you're just
not the questions you want to be asked.
Yeah, you're just throwing like knives out there to try and see what's gonna stick. But I agree with you that from top to bottom, Poch got to pull it together. But he's won 3 games in a row in the Premier League this season.
Yeah.
And if you can do it again, it changes everything all over again. So there is that. But kind of like United, there's no identity in how they play.
They can't have another big loss.
Yeah, but they've already lost 10, and I think if you lose 10 at this point, you still got some big guys to come back round.
Yeah, but they can't get slapped. They already held 4 at Newcastle.
Desasi and Badie and Shield leak goals. Like, and one of them has to partner Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
Like, but they leak goals.
Yeah. Man, it's strap in, Chelsea fans, because
for real,
you're in for a long, long ride here. It's because, bro, it ain't Roman anymore.
Go on.
It ain't Roman anymore. But yeah, move on to Man United, West Ham.
I even forgot this fixture happened
at Old Trafford. Man United putting together back-to-back wins. They won 3-0. And having just spoken about Chelsea, one thing I will give Man United credit for is there does always seem to be a flaw. There always seems to be a level that we won't go
We're
below.
shit, but we're not that shit.
Exactly. Under Oli,
we're not 10th.
Under LVG,
11th.
Under Moyes. Like, I think Man United, even post-Fergie, have qualified for Europe every season.
Yeah.
The only season they maybe didn't was Moyes in that first one, but I think even then they might have got Europa League. So one thing I will give Man United credit for is they do have that, like, we're shit.
No.
But we're not going to go down to 12,
we're not spending 2
13,
seasons
like Chelsea are.
Yeah.
Like, we have some level of respect for the fans and the club that we're not going to allow that to happen. And back-to-back wins where they are now, for Eric Ten Hag, he has to make top four. He has to make top four.
You think?
Yeah, he has to. He has to.
I don't think he's going to make top four.
If he doesn't make top four, the drop off from last season, Man United fans having to play Europa League again next season. After last season, United fans thought they were 2 years away from winning the league.
Yeah, they did.
If they're now playing Europa League football next season, big problem. So Eric Ten Hag has to make Champions League football.
I think it would be phenomenal if he did, considering how many games they've lost already. But I don't think that they're a better team than Villa or Tottenham.
They're 6 points off Tottenham.
Yeah. But I think, I just think the problem I have with United is still and I want to give them credit in this pod.
Yeah. I think they deserve it because they played well on the weekend.
They did. But they still get by like individual brilliance or miracles. Like the Kobe Mainoo goal is individual brilliance / a miracle.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, like you don't get that chance.
But for 80 odd minutes or so,
they were the better team. They were the better team. No, I agree, but that's it's so weird because that's a game that you should see out 3-0 or 3-1.
Yeah.
Like it should be no fuss, no messing.
Once McTominay scores, it should be done.
It should be done.
Done.
So the fact that Wolves even get back into it and then you get individual, like Ten Hag was like when Neto goal went in.
Yeah.
He must have been seething, like, just like, how shit am I? How shit we are. So I say that to say, I still find it incredible that they're in this position where they are 6 points off 4th or 5th. But that's the reason why I don't think they'll get top 4. Is Tottenham, for whatever we've said about them in this pod and pods gone by, there is a brand of football, there is a style of play, there is a system. Richarlison's benefiting from it. There's other players that are going to be benefiting from it just because there is a system and a style of play.
At this
Same
moment,
thing with Villa.
The only reason I might say Man United will get there is because when those last 10 games come,
quality,
and you really need to start winning, that Tottenham have a very young team.
Yeah.
A lot of those players haven't been in this situation before. Like guys like Udogie, even Pedro Porro and those kind of guys.
Yeah.
You really need to now,
what?
Like we've seen, like I said this earlier, the top 4 races we've seen, it's almost just about giving it up to the next person because teams start losing. I feel like that might be where Man United with the play Bruno, Rashford,
I was gonna say
Casemiro might start.
And I called it. Do you remember I called it with Rashford saying that he's gonna score?
You did, and you deserve your praise for that.
Yeah, I say
you can get an MVP for me. For
see how it comes. No, I called it because
you did say and what? But can we firstly say what a bitch move from Eric Ten Hag to put him? I thought at least wait till West Ham. Start him.
Do you know what they did?
Leave him on the bench.
Do you know the move they made? They was like they deliberately released the amount of money they were fining him.
Yeah,
they were like, we're gonna fine him 600k. Everybody's like,
serious
600k?
Yeah.
For Rashford, it's just 2 weeks' wages.
Yeah,
it's just a regular fine.
That was one night out.
Yeah.
That was his trip to Belfast.
He literally called a sickie onto work, got caught out for it, gets fined 2 weeks' wages.
Because he saw because even Gary Neville, we said it on this podcast, and I saw Gary Neville say it afterwards. He was like, Rashford probably thought, it's Newport on the weekend.
And anyway, I
called it. You said Rashford would come back.
I called it, and I think it's a bitch move from Ten Hag, but at the same time, I don't, because Ten Hag has put himself in situations where he has to make bitch moves. Yeah. Like he can't not have Rashford on side and in the dressing room and scoring.
And the goal
itself is the type of quality that Rashford possesses in the squad.
Within the first 5 minutes, all the headlines, Rio before the game, Rashford has to play well today. We have to see Rashford.
And it sets the tone as well. You talk about Martinelli setting the tone. It sets the tone for these other players. And I think the same thing from Bruno Fernandes moving forward. I know he's had a stinker in a poor season, but to your point, for these running games, he's going to get goals and assists.
Exactly.
Bruno's going to turn up. And you're going to wonder how United are going to get there.
We'll see, because James Maddison has a bit of a history. Any Leicester fans will know this, of not really turning up when you need him to.
Yeah.
When it comes to crunch time.
But I was also going to say, I want to...
Garnacho, brace.
I want to praise Garnacho and Højlund.
Yeah. Good goal from Højlund.
I've had my say about Højlund on this pod.
Yeah.
for the past couple games.
But I hope people realize when we make these comments about players, especially for me and Matt, it's never a personal.
Yeah, no, it's never personal.
Like,
but I think football fans.
Yeah, the thing about Hoyland, for some football fans, it is a personal thing. It is
I'll tell you when it's personal.
But
You're hearing my voice.
Yeah, the Van Dijk thing,
Yeah.
that's a personal thing. The Malacia, if you haven't seen the top 10 worst Man United transfers, check that out. But with Hoyland, our point was always just, come on, bro.
Yeah, do a bit more.
Score your own goals.
That's what I'm saying. That's
what
exactly what he did. He made something out of nothing. The guys were saying service, this and that. Sometimes be a player and put it in the back of the net. Like, you're £72 million striker. They've said that you're next up and you're the solution, you're the problem solver. Show us something. The thing about Nunes, and not to do the comparison thing, but like Nunes can be poor and miss chances, but he's involved in the game. Like, he's active in the match. Yeah. And I was just not seeing that as much from Hoyland. But in the last week, in the last couple of games, he's really stepped up, goals and assist-wise. And he's getting on the end of things, and he looks like he's hit a purple patch. And fair play to Ten Hag for sticking with him. Yeah, I guess he had no choice, but he stuck with him. He's getting the goods now. He's stuck with Garnacho a lot this season. He's getting
big up Garnacho.
Yeah,
man.
He's getting the goods now.
I had him as like my under 21 player of the season potentially. If it wasn't Cole Palmer. And yeah, for him to score a brace in that game.
And to be fair to United, just in general as a football club, they've stuck through a lot of shit this season. From us, from every media outlet, everybody loves to shit on United's play when it's poor. But as you've said, the fact that they're actually not out of a European and even a potential top 4 race.
Yeah. I think they could very easily get top 4.
Like the way we would be speaking on United's name, you would think that they're in Chelsea's
when they lost at home to Brighton.
Oh yeah, Bournemouth. Do you remember they lost to Bournemouth 3-0?
Yeah.
Like, you would think that they're in Chelsea's position, the way people speak about them.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot on Chelsea.
That's why I made the point. Like, in some way, and Man United fans will look at that and say, yeah, but that's a backhanded compliment. And that's because obviously, but I genuinely do mean that. Like, because even Arsenal, we've dropped to 8th. And 2 seasons out of Europe. For Man United, there does always seem to be that, like the Wolves game, right? If Wolves had won that, they would have leapfrogged them at the time. Man United would have gone down to 10th.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, Kobbie Mainoo with a little bit of brilliance, and they win that game. They do have that flaw of like, okay, we're not going to go below this.
And the crazy thing about United as well is they've got like glaring issues.
Yeah.
Like centre back is a glaring issue. Midfield is a glaring issue.
But you know what's not a glaring issue? Because I think this guy's been their player of the season this year.
Talk.
Diogo Dalot.
You think?
I mean, he's been Man United. Do you see the block on Jeroboam?
No, Dalot's been good.
I think in possession, Dalot's solid. When he comes into midfield,
I just can't forgive Dalot for those lapses and like
the Galatasaray game.
Yeah, I was thinking
he's had. But I think for the most part of this season, bro, they went to Anfield. He's been good. He came to the Emirates, and we spoke about how he did a job against Saka.
I can't tell you who's been United's player of the season, but
I think Diogo Dalot is one that, like, he's definitely a guy that Man United can keep at right back for the future, because I think defensively he's getting better. 1v1 he does all right. He's good in possession.
You don't think Dalot should do the left back thing?
I mean, he's played there. He can play on both sides. That's helpful.
I think they're always gonna need.
I like Dalot. I've always kind of thought, yeah, Dalot, like, there's a player there.
Yeah, I hear that. I think if you ask United fans, they'll say Wan-Bissaka's been better this season. Like I always hear United fans talk about
Wan-Bissaka's barely played this season.
I always hear Man United fans talk about Dalot versus Wan-Bissaka, and they always say,
Wan-Bissaka's not a better right back than Dalot. There's no way.
I don't think he is a better right back than Dalot, but I think obviously he wins those duels. Yeah. And in those bigger games, he has the bigger game.
Yeah.
And that sticks out more. So I'm not mad at Dalot. I just think the lapses of concentration always stick out for me. And it's I can't even tell you who's United's player of the season. It's actually so tough to call. It's been bare bones. And somehow they're sixth.
Yeah. Yeah. They got a big game at Villa this weekend. They go to Villa Park, which
that's going to be huge.
Because I mean, they could get 3 points closer to Villa. Villa could go further away from them. Big implications. But for one team who every season they have multiple players who could be their player this season. They played last night, Brentford versus Man City. And even though Brentford took the lead and Mopé scored, Man City it just looks too easy.
They look imperious, man.
It looks too easy. Phil Foden with a hat-trick, stepping up in the number 10 position.
Yeah.
All 3 goals coming from a number 10 position.
Well, look, he said in the interview that he prefers to play on the inside.
Yeah.
He has more joy there. And to be fair, Foden's been class, man. 8 goals, 7 assists.
And that third goal, when he gets the layoff from Haaland and
Yeah.
3 players and he goes
He bursts
through
into the space. He shows it all.
it's quality.
Foden's been class, man. He's a I actually think he probably gets a bit too much disrespect. I think people throw his names into conversations just because, like, like you can, it is kind of fun to shit on him because he's England's, like they gift wrapped Foden from the time he was 16, 17. They gift wrapped him and they said he's going to be next up. So sometimes it's
they
fun
laid out the yellow brick road.
Yeah, they laid out the yellow brick road for him. So sometimes it's fun to shit on that guy, but he's been instrumental in all the title wins. And now, as he's going to be finding sort of a new era coming on the inside, I believe once Bernardo Silva and guys start leaving, he's just showing that he has the absolute quality.
Yeah.
Like he can, like,
I mean, a hat trick at Brentford.
Foden's close control is ridiculous. It's like some of the positions he gets the ball in, and some of the ways he wriggles out of these positions. Like Rodri will give it to him double marked, and he'll ask him to turn into space.
And you can almost give Foden any type of pass.
Yeah. So, again, another hat trick in the Premier League. He got one against Manchester United. I think he's going to be a guy who, he's going to have these waves where he's really good, and then waves where he's just a decent, good player. And then when it's all said and done in 5 years' time, and you look at everything he's done and the goals and the assists that he scored and his catalogue, they'll be like, oh, damn. Yeah. Right. I see, the bigger picture is there.
Yeah, I agree. And you watch this game, right?
Yeah.
Rodri.
Yeah. But I knew as soon as it kicked off and I was seeing the lights and it was like 8 o'clock, I was like, yeah, Rodri's just going to put like...
Still, yeah, and we speak about Rodri a lot on this podcast and we sing his praise, but still, some of the positions they give Rodri the ball in, it's just so... No other midfielder in the league could take the ball in that area.
I think the only way to describe it, his knowledge is like cerebral. Like,
yeah,
he actually must have eyes at the back of his head.
Bro, there was one point where Edison had the ball, centre backs had split, Rodri comes in, 2 men on his back, covering both sides. There's one pass Rodri can play to, I think it's Ake, who's kind of marked by a forward. So it has to be the perfect pass. And Rodri off his left foot
just clips it.
He's not even, because Edison delays, so Rodri kind of thinks, oh, he's not giving it to me. Then he gives it to Rodri and he plays this perfect pass out to Ake and then they're out.
And that sums him up, is the precision at the highest moments with all the pressure on him is laser focus, and he does it so effortlessly that you think is a non-highlights. Yeah. But it's nothing special.
Yeah.
But like,
Rodri's just played a backwards pass.
Yeah. And I think the thing about City, somebody's always going to be the hero, man. It was Foden yesterday, but it's going to be somebody else.
Been Alvarez.
Doku will come back and do his thing.
But one guy who it's not looking good for, I don't even think he got on the pitch on the weekend, maybe, or maybe for just a couple of minutes. Jack Grealish.
Yeah, and he's fully fit. Yeah,
he's been on the bench.
Oscar
Bob's been getting minutes.
It's got to be a thing between him and Pep. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Calvin Phillips leaving. And
and Calvin Phillips, well, he'll get a rookie of the week from me because he had 2 fuck ups. One, the pass against Bournemouth.
Yeah,
laid it on a plate for Solanke, and he got robbed on the weekend. He didn't learn his lesson. Got robbed at Old Trafford for the 3rd goal.
I put that down to rust.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's always going to be a hero.
City just, they win their game in hand now. They're top of the table.
Yeah, and it'll probably be tough to take them off it.
I mean, they got Everton on the weekend. I think they've won the last 7 or 8 in all competitions.
KDB as well. Again, that ball for Foden.
Yeah, picked up the assist.
I mean, he's not leaving without a goal or assist in every game from now.
It's too like automatic.
Yeah.
When City get on that pitch and they cross the white line,
Foden's like 5'8".
Yeah, and the ref blows the whistle for the start of the game. Rodri's here. Diaz is there, 5-yard passes, keeping it, working their way into the game. Walker makes a run, clipping. It's just so automatic for them. No matter where they go, what stadium they play at, it's just...
Foden's 5'8" in between Pinnock and Ben Mee.
Yeah.
KDB picks him up when he starts 5 yards of space.
Rodri, KDB, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Alvarez, and Haaland.
Yeah. Yeah.
He played all 6 of them away at Brentford. And after the game, Pep went, we knew, they sit low. They said they play low block, no space. We need guys in the pockets who are tight, can keep the ball. And it's like, yeah, cool. So he put Bernardo Silva, Alvarez, and Foden on the pitch with KDB playing deeper. Yeah, it's just, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. What that team is doing. And we should mention this off air briefly, man. They might win the league this year, and people might go, 4 years in a row, next year. They're not gonna. They will come back. And
They can probably win it again.
They will
next
come back
year.
and do exactly the same shit again.
Yeah. No, fingers crossed. We should all start like some sort of seance. One of these games, they're gonna have to drop points to a team that we don't expect.
Hopefully.
Like Nottingham Forest or someone's gonna have to like.
Because the thing is, for title rival Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, you look at that Brentford away fixture
and you think, that's a tough game.
8 o'clock. I already told you I'm looking at the one where Liverpool go there next weekend.
Yeah.
And you look at that and you think, Ivan Toney, Neil Maupay, they go 1-0
and Maupay will put some 1-0 up.
Exactly. But City just the way the game, it's just a matter of time.
Literally,
it's just a matter of time. And that's, look, man, we hate it. We hate it because we're Arsenal fans and we want to win the league and whatever. But Pep, man.
Pep proper respect. He's relentless. He's actually relentless.
There's nothing you can really do. But we'll move it on to AFCON quickly. Before we do MVPs and Rookies of the Week. Been a crazy AFCON. Semi-finals are tomorrow. Ivory Coast, who are back to the start of the tournament, the host nation, still in there. Crazy storyline for those who don't know. They finished 3rd in their group. Didn't know if they'd be going through or not. Sacked their manager. Found out at the end of the group stage that they can't go through. Brought in someone else, and now they're in the semi-finals.
The
scored
game,
so many last-minute goals.
To be sort of a supporter of Ivory Coast or any of these African nations for the past like 4 or 5 weeks, like the games are so last ditch that they come down to the last moment in the match. That Ivory Coast winner is like a deflected shot. Well, it's an improvised shot from a shot from outside the box, and it comes in the 120th. I switched on fully thinking it's going to penalties.
Yeah.
And then the scenes in this, like at the end of the game,
down to 10 men for like
the game had gone on for so long that Sky had already had the next program lined up. Yeah, the final image is the ref blowing it at full time, and all the Ivory Coast players on their knees in the center circle, cheering as if that they already won the final. But I love it. I think AFCON has been brilliant this year, man.
And the Guinea players on and destroyed the referee.
Yeah, and the Guinea players were moving to the ref. The ref had to push one of them.
Yeah.
The ref had to push one of them back, man. But yeah, AFCON this year I think has been brilliant, man. The storylines have been incredible. Some of the players actually, I really think some of the players or if they're not playing for the top 5 leagues, should be getting somebody's chance. Whereas I hope scouts are looking into them. And I think the semi-finals have been set up in a way that it's gonna be, there's huge narratives to come out. Nigeria, South Africa, Congo, Ivory Coast. Huge implications to come out of these games. And I think there's gonna be storylines. I mean, in the other quarterfinal, the South African keeper saving 4 penalties. In a penalty
MVP
shootout.
for him, for real.
I was literally, he saved the first 3 penalties in the shootout. They all went the same way. He got down to every single one of them.
And I saw something that was like, I think the round of 16 teams, or maybe the quarterfinalists were completely different. Were all different from the quarterfinalists at the last AFCON.
All the
favourites
you
want in a tournament,
100%.
You want those, though. You want things to be unpredictable.
Cape Verde, man.
You want exactly.
I heard them say there's 100 South Africans for every 1 Cape Verdean.
Yeah, and their team was balling, man. Their team was playing some nice stuff. They had some nice technical players.
Yeah. No, I think AFCON's been brilliant. I think.
By the next time we pod, it will be over.
It will be over. I think Nigeria are going to win.
I'm going to stick with Ivory Coast.
I think Nigeria are going to win.
I backed them at the start, and I'm going to stick with them.
Unfortunately, I think Nigeria are going to win.
You don't want Nigeria to win.
I don't want Nigeria to win just because of how boisterous and loud they're going to be about winning AFCON. I would love the host nation to win it.
Yeah.
But maybe I should have.
Because it could be an Ivory Coast Nigeria final.
Yeah, I should probably have some allegiance to Congo, that kind of East Africa.
Yeah.
But I think Nigeria will win it for the defense, and I think, as I said, Oshiman's going to score in the semi-final and final.
Yeah. That's a bold. That's a hot take. That's a big prediction.
He's going to turn it around.
Hasn't. I don't know. You said he hasn't scored yet, right?
I just he scored one, or he hasn't
scored one.
all,
yeah, but yeah, a couple of people saying that. Yeah, now is the time for Osimhen to turn up, and we'll see.
Yeah, I think he'll do it.
I don't know. I haven't seen too much of Osimhen in Serie A, so I don't know if he's going to be that guy to turn up. If he turns up and wins AFCON for Nigeria, he's down in folklore. He's down.
Yeah, he is down in folklore. But AFCON it's not the litmus test to see how good a player is. It's just like how much does he want it and how much can he get done.
But for a goal scorer,
yeah. But some of the goals,
if he raps on in the top bins,
some of the goals scored in this AFCON cannot be replicated. Right, cannot be replicated.
Yeah. And on that, I'll shout out Jordan as well, who beat South Korea.
Yeah.
So they're in the final.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's been upsets in that one as well. But yeah, we'll move on. MVPs and rookies of the week. One MVP that I will start with because we might have a bit of a conversation about him. Gael Clichy.
Yeah. I thought he was really good at Sky.
In a time where, if you listen to like the intros that me and Michael do and all like pre-bits before we get into the podcast, we spoke about Nader Monua when he went on Filthy Fellas and saying about the level of punditry. And part of the reason, I guess, why we started this pod was because sometimes when you watch Sky, especially when Arsenal have a big result like they've had on the weekend, you don't get the analysis that you're
looking for.
Especially as an Arsenal fan, because there's never usually an Arsenal rep on that panel. You've got Man United reps, you've got Liverpool reps, you've got Chelsea reps, even like Hasselbank and them. And yeah, if you want your Arsenal content, then you can come here. I tweeted after the game, I was like, you won't hear any of the mainstream medias talk about Kai Havertz's performance, but tune in for the Tiki Taka pod.
He'll be there.
We'll give him his time. But yeah, Gael Clichy was one who was doing exactly what Anua said and said that, like, we need more players who are giving proper analysis of the game.
Yeah.
And Gael Clichy, who's won Premier Leagues, played under Arsene Wenger, played under big managers, said before the game what Jorginho was going to bring, why he was in the team, explained it tactically. And Jorginho did exactly that in the game.
No.
And yeah, I think credit Gael Clichy, man, definitely gets an MVP.
Definitely Gael gets an MVP. I think he held his own, man. I think he was kind of showing those boys up, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
With his understanding of the game, some of the points that he was making. And I think you made the point.
It was night and day between the stuff he was saying and the stuff.
I think you made the point last week that Sky can benefit from just having a younger member who's been in football, a player who's played between 2010 and or even maybe 2015 and 2020, who can actually break down what a lot of these new managers are saying, what a lot of these new players are feeling, because we know Roy's opinion, we know Jamie's opinion.
Jamie said that in his day, he was never going 1v1.
Yeah.
And that was happening constantly in that Arsenal-Liverpool game.
Yeah.
And Gael Clichy was able to provide insight about that.
So 100% he gets an MVP from me. Another MVP I wanted to speak about, obviously, Mikel, Martinelli.
I'm going to give one to Jakub Kiwior.
Yeah. I mean, he did a job.
Because to come in, biggest game of the season, hot atmosphere, he came on at 1-1. We hadn't scored yet. And he's on that wing. He's up against killers. One mistake could cost us, and he completely locked it down.
And he'll take a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I think those minutes for him are invaluable because let's say later on down the line, we've got a game at home to Newcastle, or away at West Ham or whoever it might be, and Jakub Kiwior needs to come on and do a 30-40 minute stint. He's got those minutes that he can take this from the Liverpool game and say, yeah, I really did my job here.
Agreed. I think South Africa keeper for the full penalty saves. Got to be said. Ivory Coast, just for being resilient, having a man down.
New manager bounce
mid-tournament.
I'm going to give one to Danny Murphy because I don't know if you saw on Match of the Day. And on a weekend where a lot of pundits gave us shit analysis. Offered nothing about what actually happened in the Arsenal game. No insight, other than if you watch MNF for about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
Danny Murphy on Match of the Day 2 sat there and said, I was wrong. I was wrong about Arsenal. I thought Liverpool would come here. I thought they'd be the better team. They'd have better forward players. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's ex-Liverpool. But he stood there on Match of the Day and he said, I was wrong. And Arsenal were absolutely brilliant today.
Well, that's big.
It's rare you get that. So I'll give Danny Murphy an MVP. As for rookies of the week,
Virgil van Dijk.
Go for it.
Has
The floor
to
is
be-
yours.
Has to be schoolboy errors from a man who's won it all
In the biggest game
in
of
the
the season.
biggest game of the season, to really put a gauntlet down and say, yo, we're back, we're title challengers.
He didn't do it for Klopp.
It's a 2-horse race. Alisson, I think, has got to get a rookie of the week as well, because Van Dijk, shouldn't let the ball bounce, but I don't know what Alisson is doing coming for that ball. Even if the ball did bounce and Martinelli did shove Virgil van Dijk, it's only a problem because Alisson is already out of goal. Like, if Alisson's back in his goal, Martinelli shoves VVD and is whatever. VVD still gets the ball. So both of them are going to get rookies of the week from me. Poch.
Yep.
Gary Neville's probably got to get an MVP.
Oh, yeah. First win at Stamford Bridge in 45 years, yeah.
Poch, rookie, 3 wins in a row, completely all the good work undone by 2 losses in a row. All the good feel factor that came into the club, gone. Now it feels like you're starting from 0 again. I think you definitely get a rookie of the week for that.
Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, Ben Chilwell
Chilly
specific.
too cold. You're not too cold, bruv. You're dead. Yeah.
Chilly too cold.
Yeah, chilly too cold, man. That's all I ever hear on the timeline. Chilly too cold. Chilly too cold. Nah, he's warm. Bruv. At Anfield, he got hotted up, man. Jota had him on strings. That's an abysmal performance from a left back. I please, God, let those days be gone. With Arsenal fullbacks playing like that at Anfield, because he got murked.
I can't wait for Chelsea to come around on the
And I'm not leaving him there. Badia Shield, you're with him. You're with him. Chuckle Brothers, right? Badia Shield, awful. Jota, what did Matisse say? Jota went through him like a ghost.
Hey, we didn't even do the whole Jota Trossard. I was so happy for Trossard's narrative. You know how they say Trossard's are Jota. Trossard's been here bagging.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that, actually. Brilliant. It was brilliant from Trossard. He can get an MVP.
He can get an MVP.
Coming off the bench, making the impact he needs to make. But no, Badia Shield, you're getting one as well. Awful defending midweek. Horrible. And you're getting one because Armand called you a Rolls Royce on this pod.
Disrespecting.
I might go back to that episode and clip that up and put that out on the TikTok this week.
Disrespecting the phrase.
Exactly. I don't know what Badia Shield is. It's probably a Fiat 500 or whatever it is. But yeah, awful performances from you lot.
That's too funny.
But yeah, other than that, I think that might be it.
I think that might be it, man.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I enjoyed. It was good to be back for the Premier League roundup.
It was good to get this vent off.
Yeah. And we had a long episode today. Spoke a lot about Arsenal, but it was needed, man. Mikel Arteta, the man on the wall. We're there, man. We're there. And hopefully, we'll see what happens come the end of the season. But after the biggest week, we got the points. That man right there on the desk, Gabriel Martinelli, turned up when it mattered most. And what more can I say? I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Subscribe if you're watching. Follow us on Spotify. We appreciate all the support. And yeah, we're on the home stretch now. We're on the home stretch.
It's the back 9.
The run is kicking in. All of those weeks where you've been tuning in and you've been hearing me and Michael say, if this happens in March, if this happens,
where we want to be, man. I said within 5 points.
Yeah,
at all times.
But now the games. This is the run in now. Gary Neville described it perfectly on Sky. He said it's the last lap of the race, and Arsenal have just got themselves on the shoulder. Right? If we go to West Ham and we lose,
West Ham is everything.
Be here. Ugh. But thank you guys for listening. Appreciate all the support as always, and peace.
One love.